Giselle McKenzie. And the Lawrence Welk Show singer, Dick Dale. And now, here he is, the man of the half hour, Skippy Lowe.
Giselle McKenzie, Dick Dale. Really? Where are you from originally? Winnipeg, Canada?
Mm-hmm.
Really? When did you first arrive here in America?
35 years ago.
35 years ago.
I was about, I was very young. I was about 12.
Where are you from, Dick?
I'm from Algona, Iowa.
Iowa, Midwest. I
Yes,
see.
cold.
Tell me
corn.
something.
Well,
Giselle,
Winnipeg is Midwest.
Yeah.
Giselle, tell me something. Winnipeg, Canada.
Mm-hmm.
You were a singer in Winnipeg. You went to school there, studied voice. You had
No,
your, no?
I never studied voice.
You never
I was
did?
self-taught.
Self-taught.
You did a good job.
Yeah, how
Thank
about
you.
you, Dick? Same thing?
I just got out of high school, joined a band, and went on the road.
As a band singer?
No, I didn't start singing till after I got out of the service. And I started singing in Pat O'Brien's down in New Orleans, singing Chicory
Orleans.
Chick, Shalot, Shalot.
Hey, that's a great club, Pat O'Brien's. You ever been
Great.
there? It's a great club.
Fantastic.
Yeah, on Bourbon Street. It's a wonderful. Tell me, Giselle McKenzie, you had your own show, the Hit Parade and everything else. You worked with Bob Crosby.
That was
Tell
on,
me.
That was on the last days of radio. Bob Crosby's Club 15, you see. And I replaced the Andrews Sisters. And then I was on with Bob, and Joe Stafford was on too. And then finally they cut it down to 3 a week. Those were the last days of big radio.
Where
so
did they
I-
have the big radio show? Was that on,
Right
on
here
Vine
at-
Street?
Yes.
On Vine, where Merv Griffith's show is. Isn't that
No,
the
no,
place?
no, Gower.
On Gower.
The CBS on,
Oh, I see.
on Gower. And then I was with Bob till the end of the show, which was, he had such a funny way of putting things. He used to say Campbell's Soups was our sponsor. He said, well, Campbell's Soups canned everything, and finally they canned the show. But that was after 2.5 years. I mean, it was a long time to be. And then I went into television.
So you did go right into TV right after
Yeah,
that. But the Hit Parade came in later.
That's a little later,
Later,
yeah.
But tell me, early Giselle McKenzie, when you first arrived Hollywood.
Well, I arrived for the Bob Crosby's Club 15,
15,
radio show. So I went straight from
But
Canada
you,
to
in
here.
Canada, but weren't you in records at Capitol? Did they sign you up right
Well,
away?
at the same time.
They did.
Yes, and I was doing the Mario Lanza show for Coca-Cola.
Mario Lanza.
Yes,
That's right.
I was a frequent guest. And in fact, it became very funny. At one point, MGM, what do you call it when you can't do anything?
They coach you.
No, when a star does something wrong in those days, they used to prevent them from doing anything. What's the word? Oh,
I don't know.
dear.
Doesn't matter.
Well, I've got the word. I'll tell you later,
Okay.
probably.
Call us
Thanks a lot, right?
Go ahead.
But anyway, he was forbidden to do anything else because he was in trouble with MGM. So I finished the series, and it was called the Mario Lanza Show, starring Giselle McKenzie, which was kind of a
What
funny.
kind of guy was Mario Lanza?
Well,
I
to
mean,
me, he was wonderful. He was very nice, and he spoke like a priest. I mean, with other people,
What do you
I
mean?
hear.
What do you mean he spoke like a priest?
Well, he
never
was-
cursed or
He
anything
never
like
used a word that wasn't.
Really?
And with other people, I hear he was quite like a sailor, you know, kind of salty. But with
that? But he
me,
loved to eat.
yes, I never knew what he was going to look like. I'd pass him by sometimes because he would be skinny one week and chubby the next. I mean, it
Did you do
became.
it that fast?
Oh, he used to go and crash things that you wouldn't believe, which
Crash
is not.
diets and
yes,
crash-
that's not good for you,
Oh,
you know.
right.
And but I never knew how he was going to look.
Dick Dale. Lawrence Welk. I mean, that's a long time. 32 years you've been on
32
Lawrence
years.
Welk?
As Giselle said, I joined when I was 12.
Yes,
You're big for.
It was a
you're
very
big-
big year.
You're big for 12, I must say. But tell me something. 32 years. You must have some great stories on Lawrence Welk show.
We did have some very funny things because when we first started out, we were on local TV on KTLA, and then we went on ABC as a summer replacement.
It
for
started
13 weeks.
local,
Yes,
didn't it?
we went
Yeah.
KTLA. We went in as a summer replacement for 13 weeks and wound up for around 27 years on coast to coast. It was beautiful.
He's a nice guy, isn't he?
He is. He's a hard man. He didn't always know how to get what he wanted. I mean, he didn't have the knowledge of the musical knowledge of getting what he wanted. So sometimes we had to rehearse the stunt over and over and over until we finally get it right.
Dick, did he pick the songs that you had to sing that week? Or
Well,
did you have your own?
No, he basically picked them. He okayed everything.
He okayed
He put the final stamp on everything.
You couldn't pick your own?
Oh yeah, occasionally. I mean, you take something, you would offer things. You say,
Yeah.
"Gee, I think this would be good for the show and good for me," and it was either okay or no, I don't think so.
I see. Every week that show was on, every week. Same as your hit parade. Right. How many years
Well, we were
you
stuck with the songs that were there.
there in the hit parade? Yes.
Oh,
You had some
gee.
goodies,
I mean,
didn't you?
you-
Yes, I had one that I'll never forget. One was called "Let Me Go Lover,"
I do.
and those were live days, you know. So in those days, now is this funny? Nowadays they can say anything, they do anything. Television, I mean, is laissez-faire. But I mean, in those days, the men could not sing the word "lover." Isn't that hysterical? So
As
that's
compared to today, that's pretty
yes.
funny.
Now
right?
they can say anything. But so the song was left to Dorothy Collins and me, because Snooky Lanson and Russell Lawrence were not allowed to
Say
sing the
lover.
word "lover." So they stuck me with it. Dorothy didn't like the song, so every week I got it. One week I was a puppet on a string. Another week I was a fly caught in a spider web, but I was a crazy-looking fly. Boy, I had those stockings going up to here, and an antenna and everything. You know, I was really. But I mean, it became to a point where I thought, if that thing doesn't go off the air, I'm going to scream. You know, or I think I did it 17 weeks in a row. Let me
The
go.
hit parade.
couldn't believe it.
The songs really lasted those days, didn't they?
Some of them did. Some
What
of them
were
went on and went right off.
What were the big songs those days, really, that you really enjoyed doing?
Well, the ones, the Tony Bennett's were very good, the Rags to Riches and the San Francisco, you know. But Sinatra and Nat Cole had a lot of biggies, and Rosemary Clooney and Patti Page. But I had
You had a biggie,
I
too.
had a
You
biggie. I was
certainly
the only
did.
one that had that ever had the pleasure and the privilege of singing my own hit on the #1. So that was
And
a
the
thrill.
biggie was
Hard to get.
Hard to Get.
Yeah.
It's a great song, too.
So that it was really a thrill and a half, you know, when you
Oh,
sing
I-
your own. I mean, you're a nervous wreck. You can sing everybody else's songs, This Little House
Right.
with
Yeah,
Rosemary
right.
Clooney, but it's hard to sing your own.
Giselle, what's new and exciting in your life right now? I mean,
Well, I wish I could say there's earth-shaking news,
Uh-huh.
like, you know, a big, wonderful show like a Cagney and Lacey or something. But I did
would you
have,
like to do something like that?
oh, yes.
You would.
Oh, yes, because
Dick, how about you? Would you like to do some acting?
I've done a lot of it.
You have, yes.
I don't think I really care for that. I enjoy being on stage, but as far as I have trouble learning lyrics and to learn lines in a
The lines are easier,
easier.
yeah.
Yeah,
Because
they
you're
really
talking
are.
to somebody,
Yeah, maybe that'd be all right.
you know.
I made up enough lyrics in my time. I'll tell you.
But you would like to do
Well, I've done a lot of that in the past, but now I had a very interesting experience. It was a challenge, really. A few weeks ago, I replaced a lady who wasn't well on the top soap, which is The Young and the Restless,
That's right.
and I got to play her part. But I mean, they give you 25 to 30 pages of dialogue a day, if you think that isn't something.
wow.
And
Soap is tough. They give you a
No
lot of
cards,
lines.
no cards.
Oh, they have some, because otherwise you'd go, you know, fruitcake.
Oh, yeah.
But the thing is, you have to be so familiar with it. But the thing is, they don't rehearse very much. And I had a couple of actors come to me the 2 weeks that I was on, which was a wonderful experience. First of all, I had to wear a blonde wig, which is very funny. But that was okay. I didn't stay long enough to find out if blondes had more fun. But I had a couple of actors walk up to
I'll
me.
tell you, they do, darling.
Do they?
They do.
What about the
Go
ones with
ahead.
white hair?
Well, we have fun too, right?
Yes,
Yeah,
more
right.
fun.
Okay, Giselle.
But anyway, I had a couple of actors come up to me, and one of them tapped me on the shoulder. He said, I've been your lover. I said, oh, how was it? And he said, well, I just want you to know I was your lover. I said, oh, okay. Then another fellow came up and he says, oh, I'm your son. And you haven't even seen what the guy looks like. You don't know how he walks, how he talks. You haven't heard his voice.
No
And
idea.
it's really weird. And then
Oh, wow.
you know, they don't rehearse that much, so it's kind of hard to have a rapport with your
Well,
son
it's
when
like
you
a-
barely met him. You know?
It's
But
like taking a vocal part home and you have the baritone part and you go home and
Yeah.
sing the baritone part by yourself. And you know,
yes, it's funny.
Tell me about
But it was-
Sinatra,
it was
Giselle.
really, a
Giselle,
thrill.
tell me about Sinatra. You know Sinatra, don't you?
No,
You don't?
No.
I thought you were very good
I
friends.
sang his songs, but I don't know.
You've never met Sinatra? No. But Crosby you do. Bing
well,
Crosby you
no,
knew.
not Bing.
You
just-
never knew
no,
Bing?
No, I never
Really?
met
And you
Bing.
worked
I
with
worked with
Bob?
Bob.
And isn't it strange Bing
Well,
was very private, though. But,
yes, he was.
Because I had the Andrews sisters on several times.
Yeah.
And
Well, they were close to Bing because they did pictures
yeah,
with
they
them,
did.
you see.
They didn't do that many.
Did a lot of records
They
with them,
did
too.
a lot of records,
Yes.
but only about 3 or 4 pictures. That's
Yeah.
all they did their pictures with Bud Abbott and Lou Costello.
Oh.
That's what they did at Universal.
Yeah.
Yeah. What was your days in Hollywood like? I mean, you know, the days that you were here with the Hollywood Christmas parade. You did
Well, it
that
was
several
fun.
times, didn't you?
Yes, it was
the
fun.
Christmas parade.
And I enjoyed the whole thing, you know.
Uh-huh.
But I live simply anyway, so I mean, I was never one of those crazy Hollywood types. It's
You've
not
never
my-
been? No.
It's not my style.
I see.
You know.
And how about you, Dick?
Well, I
You
live
have a
in- I live-
business,
I
right?
live- Yeah, we have a new business. My wife runs it most of the time. We have a skincare center over on Robertson in Beverly Hills.
Uh-huh.
It's Metron. Can I get that in?
Yes,
I already
of
did,
course,
didn't I?
of course. Go ahead.
It's Metron Skincare. It's new to Southern California, but it's been up in Canada for over 50 years.
Mm-hmm.
And so we liked it so much that we thought, well, we want the people down in Southern California to find out about it.
I see.
And it is a great product.
Well, it's
Skin-
you know, especially skincare would be very, very popular, very hot here.
Yes, I think everybody in Southern California.
You're married, Giselle?
No,
You?
not now.
You're not now?
No.
I see.
But I
Tell
have
me-
2 children.
But you've done a lot of, you have 2 children. Are they in the business?
My daughter Gigi, is starting, and she's got the young sound, you know.
Yeah.
Gigi. I
Yes,
like that.
Gigi.
That's good.
She doesn't like what I do, but I don't like what she does either. So I mean, but
What
we
does she do?
Well, I mean, she is a singer, a young singer. She's starting out, and with her group, and her sound, of course, it's too loud. Number 1, and they're all deaf. Number 2,
What?
they're all deaf. Yeah.
You're right.
See what I mean?
I have 4 kids. I can say that.
Yeah. And but she's very talented, and she's really got, I think, a star quality. And I have a son who's in the Air Force.
I see.
Yeah. So.
I see. But tell me something, Giselle. Hollywood has changed a lot. You've been around here for
Uh-huh,
years
I would
and
say so,
years.
yeah.
Yeah, you know. So what's the change like?
Well, I don't know. First of all, the physically has changed. I mean, you don't even know where you're going half the time, you
Uh-huh.
know. But I don't know. It seemed to be a little more small town. In
Small
those days.
town
Yeah.
than it
Yes,
was
yes.
before?
I mean, in the old
Oh,
days,
in
it
the
was
old
more
days, it was
small
small
towns.
town, yes.
Now it's not. I don't know.
I
It
see.
just.
Well, I guess we're just a different generation. I feel the same way. It's like physically it's changed, and the people have changed. It's
Tell me about Lawrence Welk's show. I mean, you've been on that 32 weeks, like I said. Right?
32 years.
32 years. Yeah, right.
32
weeks. 32 years, right. Okay, 32 years. Tell me, Lawrence Welk does he audition his people, or when he gets his talent, or does the talent, how does he pick his people? I mean, you've been
Oh,
there.
he definitely picks the person who's going to come on.
Each singer he comes,
Yeah,
yeah.
you know, a lot of the people who came on the show at the latter part of the latter years were people who had. We would go out on tour, and they would have a champagne lady for every town we played in.
And
then-
each town?
Yes, and
They have-
usually they had some singing talent.
I see.
And a lot of times people would come up when we were on tour, like people from Tennessee, to
Uh-huh.
say, I sing, and here's a tape, and sometimes he would invite them out of the audience and have them sing while we were doing a concert.
Do you think that's hurt your career, Dick Dale, or is it made it better for you? I mean, to get work right at the moment. The Lawrence Welk show. To be on 32 years, I mean, like you say, you don't want to be an actor, so
Well,
it's-
fortunately, we had a lot
you're
of...
considered a singer.
Yes, I hope so.
Yeah.
I also played saxophone, you know, and...
That's what you started as,
Yeah.
a band sax.
That's what I sang when I came on the Lawrence Welk show.
Uh-huh.
But, I don't know. When we first came out to California, it was a very close-knit, it was a very small group, and we had a small band, and Roberta Lynn was the vocalist on the show, and let's see who...
The dancer, the tap dancer, was he on the show? The
Arthur
original?
Duncan? No.
Arthur, yeah,
No,
Arthur Duncan.
he joined later.
Uh-huh.
Well,
Who were the originals then?
the original singers.
Yeah, it started.
Well, when we first came out, there were, I think I was one of the, well, Rocky Rockwell was, he played trumpet, and he had like the bangs, like the Ishkabibble haircut.
Yeah, Ishkabibble, uh-huh.
And he did the novelty songs, and I think that would be the only people that, and I was on one of the singers. Roberta Lynn was a singer, and people around Southern California would know her. Garth Andrews was one of the vocalists. He played saxophone also. And we had an Irish tenor named Gene Purcell. And and Larry Hooper, of course.
Uh-huh.
And I think that's about all the singers. It seemed like everybody did double duty. You played and
I heard
sang
rumors
and-
about Lawrence Welk that he was a difficult man. I just want to clarify that. Is it? No,
Well, like I say, he was a hard man because he.
what do you mean by hard? Like, tell me. What do you mean?
Well,
by that?
he wanted it his way, which is only right. He was the leader. And
Do you agree with that? Well, someone should have it his way. I mean, if you, I mean,
Well,
should you have
If
it,
it's your show, I guess you run the ship.
when we
Is
went
that-
when we went on when we went to ABC and
Yes.
Our first show, they wanted the agency came in and they wanted a line of girls and a comedian and everything, and Lawrence says,
Lawrence, no, I see.
we don't do it that way. We do it with the band, and that's how it is.
Keep it middle America. That's
Middle
what he's
America,
kept
and-
it.
yeah.
Really, basically, that's
And
what
it
he
was,
kept it.
well, I don't know whether it was all his accent or not, but a lot of people, it was like, well, it was a variety show within
Yes,
the band
yes,
because there were
yes.
so many
Yes.
different type of singers, and if you didn't like me, somebody else came along and you liked, and it was just
Yes.
like, here's one,
It
here's
was kind of
one.
a family,
Uh-huh.
in a
Yeah,
way,
right.
wasn't
was.
it?
Pretty much.
Giselle, let me ask you a question. Looking back over your life, do you have any regrets?
I don't think you should have regrets because everything was for a purpose. You see. Well, let me give you an example.
Yes.
I was trained as a concert violinist. In fact, I was a scholarship student in the scholarship school in Canada, and in Canada, they're tough.
Yeah.
They never hand you anything. When you win a scholarship, I mean, you have to win it like an Olympics.
Yes.
You earned it all the way.
Yes, you've earned it all the way. So I was a graduate of the graduate school, and I was there for 4 years, and as a graduate, I was full-fledged, ready to go out into the concert field. But that wasn't in my heart. I didn't feel happy doing that. And so I gave it up to become a singer and then an actress too. So that a lot of people have said to me through the years, well, why did you bother? My parents wanted me to do it, of course, that's why I was there. Why did you pursue the complete education as a musician and so on, and went through all of that training as a musician and as a violinist? I said, look, they said, don't you regret? I said, no, because if it hadn't been for that, I would have never played those famous duets with Jack Benny, those violin duets
That's
that are
right.
locked up at UCLA in his
That's
vault
right.
for 100 years. You see? So I said, you should not regret, really,
Also,
because
so
everything
you
was for
got-
a purpose.
It was good training for your voice,
Oh, it's
too.
wonderful.
So if you
musical
had your
training.
life to live over again, you would do the same, exactly the
Probably,
same?
probably.
Tell me about Jack Benny those days.
Oh,
Jack Benny, what a
Now
master.
that's a man.
This is a
who's really
man
fun.
who just walked out and
Yeah.
just looked at the camera.
He used
and
to
that
say,
was it.
he called me Dollface. He used to say, Dollface? He said, I have more guts than anybody I know.
we did his show one time.
You did too, huh?
And I was the one who sang the song that went through the years that when you say,
Love and Blue?
no, when you say I'll come to you, I can't
Come out
remember.
of nowhere?
No, it was a funny name too. I beg your pardon. I goofed it up really bad. But I sang it on the show, and it was funny. It was one of the greatest things in my life to do the Jack Benny show, and because he did things when we had dress rehearsal, but when it came time to the show, he put some things in there, and the band just fell off the stand. But
What
it was
kind of
just-
funny things do you remember about Jack Benny, working with him?
First of all, he was a wonderful person.
He was.
Oh, he was a doll. And
Mary, too, his wife. Lovely lady, I
yes, but I knew Jack more than I knew
Yes,
Mary.
yes.
So anyway, but he was he loved show business so much. He lived for it,
Yeah.
really. And every actor could learn something from him. He was such a generous man. He was entirely the opposite of
Of his,
the
of
part
his
he
character,
portrayed.
yes, yes, yes.
I mean, he was so generous that, for instance, he would, for instance, take me out to lunch, and he would say, I'll send a cab for you. I'd say, well, Jack, it's just around the corner. I can walk around the corner. He said, no, I want you to arrive in style. So he'd send a cab, and in those days, going around the corner was like 50 cents. And he'd tip the guy $2. And the guy, I remember one cabbie said, oh, please, Mr. Benny, he said, take it back. And Jack said, well, why? He said, well, I want to be able to say to my wife that Jack Benny's the cheapest man I've ever met. Please don't give me $2.
He was,
He was very generous, and his timing was so perfect that he loved people, and he loved actors with his heart, and musicians, of course, so that he was such a doll to get along with. And he if he thought that you weren't reading something correctly, he'd go up to you and tell you, but
Oh,
in
he
a
did.
very nice way.
That's nice.
You know, he was a real doll.
Uh-huh.
I loved him very, very deeply.
Very talented.
Yeah.
Like you say, the timing.
The timing is
Well,
the most important thing.
And that's what he used to say. If you were off a split second, he said that's the making of a joke or the death of it, you see.
See, that's the trouble with our comics today, of these young comedians. They don't have
They don't
timing.
have that perfect timing.
timing.
Yeah.
They can just go out there and use those words,
Yeah.
but they don't have the timing.
And he used to
That's-
say that there's certain numbers that are funny, and others aren't. He said, is 40 funny?
40.
No, 39, that's
39,
funny.
that's funny, yeah.
And he used to come up with
Uh-huh.
different examples, you know, of how numbers are even funny. So
Right.
even constructing a joke, he would say, well, I bought 11 of them. He wouldn't say I bought a dozen. No, he'd pick
So
a funny.
basically, your training, Giselle, was not taught. It was just naturally out there working.
Yes,
It's just
yes,
actually
I
going
learned
out there
working.
and
Yes.
work on stage.
Yes.
And
And
that's
that's
the
the best teacher.
Hey, that is the best. That's where I started, darling. That is
No,
what the
there's
kids.
there's no greater teacher.
kids. No. The kids today don't have that.
Yeah.
They have
There's
the
a lot of
comedy
places-
store, the
there's-
improv.
There's not the places to go anymore. I mean, as far as musicians are concerned.
Uh-huh.
I mean, Vegas used to have all the lounges, and you could take a group in, and if you were a singer,
Uh-huh.
you'd hone your act, and maybe you got to be the opening act for somebody else, and then
Mm-hmm.
maybe you got to be the star.
Uh-huh.
But now, how many?
There's
how many
no
lou-
place to be lousy.
Yeah,
Hey,
there's no
that's-
place to.
Dickdale, Dickdale, is there a good jazz room in this town in Los Angeles? In the Valley there is one, I know, but in Los Angeles there aren't any clubs, nightclubs, really.
Yeah.
Are there? Could you
No,
come
there
up
are.
with some?
Well, of course, there some of the big bands around town, like Roger Newman has a great band, and they will play around, like they play at the Holiday Inn in Hollywood, I think it is.
Oh, I didn't know they had
Yeah,
shows
they had.
there.
But
Oh,
on,
okay.
it's like on Monday nights. I think they have a jazz night.
Oh.
And they bring the big bands, big jazz bands,
Mm-hmm.
in, which is great.
What would you tell young musicians out there in Hollywood or out there in America?
Well,
How to
I-
prepare themselves for, you know,
I really don't know how you do it in this day and age. There's a lot of great colleges to go to. A lot of great jazz musicians come out of,
Uh-huh.
I think it's North Texas State.
uh-huh,
And like all of your, like Woody Herman and
yes.
Maynard Ferguson and Buddy Rich, their bands are mostly made up of these young men. And there's a lot of young men out here that
Yes.
you just scare you to death if you hear them, if they have a chance to play.
Yes.
Giselle,
As I said, no place to be
Right,
lousy.
right?
Giselle McKenzie, if you could have one wish at this moment, what would you wish for?
Oh, gee.
Come on, just one.
Oh, my goodness. Now that,
I
you see,
mean,
that's
you
the,
paid
that's
your
the tough-
dues.
That's the toughest thing to do.
You know, you paid your dues.
Apart from an evening with Tom Selleck.
I hate that word, you paid your dues. I shouldn't say that, you paid your dues.
You missed it. You missed it.
I'm sorry.
I said, apart from one evening with Tom Selleck. You meant
hey,
apart
that's
from
what
that,
I
right?
heard about that. You like that. Why do you like him so much?
Oh, he's adorable. Oh,
Really?
He's adorable. There's just one word. That's all.
Okay.
He's
That's-
just adorable.
But if you could make one wish, what
Well, you know, I read something recently that said if you stop and ask somebody really one wish, do you realize how difficult one wish
Yeah.
is? Because you can't say, well, if I have my health and if I have this and if I have that, my one wish would be.
Uh-huh.
Which,
Yeah.
which would it be,
Yeah.
right?
You got to
I
have 10 before you can have one, right?
Yes,
Yes.
and because you're not really sure of what the one wish would
Yes.
be. I suppose the cover as much ground as you can. Complete peace of mind. If you have peace of mind, you have
You usually have success.
fulfillment,
Fulfillment.
success.
Yes.
You have, you know, love and prosperity, and you have it all. Because how can you have peace of mind if you're not well? How can you have peace
Yes,
of mind
yes.
if you're poor? So I would say peace of mind.
Giselle.
What would be yours?
Yes.
You can't take mine. You can't take
You
mine.
just took mine.
Yeah, what could be yours?
No, that,
If you want the same, you can have it.
she's very right in that you have to have a number of things before you can have the one wish.
There isn't one thing
There
that you
isn't-
can
there
really
is no-
ask anybody. Skip.
I see.
What would yours be?
What?
One
health,
thing.
Health, that's the most important thing. Health and happiness, that's all.
That's
Oh,
two. That's
no,
two.
no, that's two.
Okay, it's two. Okay, I like simplicity though. I like just to be just a, you know, just nice little.
Now you're
person.
going into different, which
I
you
know,
said one.
I know.
You
Yeah,
you
health,
still
health,
didn't answer.
health.
What's yours?
Well, I suppose,
The universe is listening.
yeah, the universe is listening, and I'm thinking and not coming up with
He
an
has
answer.
great
yet.
hair, hasn't he,
Oh, beautiful.
Giselle?
Well,
Beautiful.
you know,
Fabulous hair.
for years, I suppose, I didn't use, well.
You still haven't answered our question.
Well, that's
I'll
his
get back
wish.
to you in a minute, honey.
That's his wish, not to lose his hair, darling.
Oh, he never
As
will.
one of the guys on the band says, I don't care if it turns green as long as I keep it. That's the main thing. But it's, like, I think you're right in your answer. It's, if you have health and if you're successful, you'll have peace of mind. You know, I mean, that's
Yes.
just one or two things. But
Giselle, what are you doing at the moment now? You said you've been doing soaps, right? You're doing acting
Well, I
in
did,
soap. Yeah, right.
but the lady came back.
Anything else coming in Giselle McKenzie's life?
Well,
coming
I
up?
do
Anything coming up?
concerts and one-night engagements a lot.
You are doing it. Then.
Yes, and I've appeared with some symphonies as well, which is a new thing.
do you
for
Now,
me.
where do we
play
see Giselle?
violin?
I don't play the violin since Mr. Benny left.
Oh,
You don't?
It's too much trouble.
too much work
You
to
said
get
we don't
getting
play
back
the
into shape.
violin since Mr. Benny left.
Well, I
What do
mean,
you
it was fun while
Because-
playing it with him because it was, you know, our famous violin duets that were funny. But to me, it's a suicidal instrument. If you don't practice,
I see.
one day you lose 3 weeks
I see.
of progress. So I say to myself, well, have you ever seen a famous violinist who smiles?
No.
Isaac Stern hasn't
Yeah.
smiled in years.
Yes, true.
Yasha Heifetz
Yes.
has never
Perlman,
smiled.
Perlman.
Perlman is the only one.
He's got a sense of humor.
Tell me, Giselle.
Yes, that's about it.
So where do we see Giselle McKenzie nowadays singing?
Hopefully it'll be on television.
Uh-huh.
Gee, maybe Cagney and Lacey need me as a...
You said that
a kind
again,
of another
Cagney and
cop.
Lacey.
You like that
want-
show, huh?
You
Yes,
like
I
that
do.
like to
show?
be a
like that
cop?
show. Oh, sure. I'd be a wonderful doctor.
Yeah?
Yes, I'd be a great doctor.
Are you listening out there?
They're listening.
Oh, yes, if you ask me what, and I'd be a lovely judge.
Now, how about your records?
Boom!
Giselle, those old records, they're still big hits.
Well, the thing
Still
is,
big
by now
hits.
they're out of print, you know, my records.
Yeah,
So,
they're still a big hit. A lot of people have asked, where is Giselle McKenzie? What is she doing?
well, nowadays they
want to know, and that's what I had you on the show for, to find out where have you been, what you've been doing.
Well, I've been doing a variety of things, is all I can say. And,
Is there a man in your life at the moment?
not at the moment, no.
Tom Selling.
Well, yes,
Except-
he doesn't
Oh,
know
he's
it.
always there.
He doesn't know it.
He
So
doesn't
there
know
is
it.
no
And I
man.
have to share him with so many.
There is no man in your life at the moment.
Not at the
You have
moment.
2 lovely children,
Yes,
and you seem very, very happy.
I am.
And children? 4?
I have 4 children.
4.
3 boys and a girl.
Are they in the business, Dick?
No, my oldest boy is in computer business. He's a computer technician, and he played bass guitar, and played it very well. He had a great facility. And I said, well, okay, we'll go take some lessons. But he didn't want. He wanted to be discovered. I guess that's what. But he didn't want to
Oh,
take
discovered,
lessons.
that's a good word.
Right. and my daughter is an
Do you still
artist.
see? Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to Skippy Lowe Looks at Hollywood. Today's guest, direct from The Late Show, Joan Rivers, starring the funny guy, Bruce Marinoff. And, ladies and gentlemen, the most talked about young man in town right now in Beverly Hills on Wednesdays and Sundays. Wednesdays through Sundays, DaleGonye. And, direct from traffic school, that one and only, that madman himself, Jason Stewart. Ladies and gentlemen, now let's join the man of the half hour, Skip E. Lowe. Bruce Marinoff. God, last night you were on The Late Show.
I am.
Joan Rivers.
And here I am now.
Hey. God, everybody's talking about that show. Am I right, fellas?
Yes,
There are
absolutely.
Jason Stewart, Bruce Marinoff,
Bruce, it's a pleasure.
and DaleGonye, Bruce Marinoff.
Hi,
Tell
Bruce.
me about Joan Rivers. How was it last
Oh,
night?
it was great. It was a thrill of my lifetime. In fact, I didn't know I was doing the show until 2:30 in the afternoon. I was sitting in my underwear in my apartment. It was a typical day. I usually just sit around in my underwear. And they called me up and said, you're on the show. And it was
That's
just a
it.
thrill. 2:30. I was there at 3:30. We taped it at 8, and my career was over by about 11:30 that night. So that was it.
That's
One
the best way
shot,
to do it.
bang, yeah.
Was that material written just strictly for that particular show, or you
No,
have
well,
it?
that's you've seen my act, you know,
Yeah.
and we took a little bit here, a little bit there, and we snipped it and put it all together and made a nice little
Well,
set.
congratulations.
The phone hasn't stopped ringing.
Really?
Yeah, not at my house, but other people's.
Bruce.
What?
Dale Garnier. God, I
This is a
saw him
brilliant man.
last night at the Cannon Theater. I'm sorry, it's Sunday through Wednesdays?
It's Wednesday through Sunday. Yeah.
Wednesday through Sunday.
Until
Oh, I didn't know. Jackie Mason is not there then.
Jackie Mason took a 2-week hiatus,
Oh, I see.
and we moved him for 2 weeks.
I must
He
say,
doesn't know.
I must say, Dale, you're just wonderful. One-man show. I mean, really brilliant.
Oh, not quite though.
Well, you have a-
not
you have
not
a-
quite one man. Yeah.
But it's basically
I have a band and I have a choir.
yeah. But
How many were in the choir last night? I never know.
I think
you know.
15.
15, yeah. And I have a co-star, I guess, of sorts.
Tell me about Michigan. Now, you said you started in Michigan when you were a little boy.
Yes.
What?
When I was 5.
5.
To the piano.
And that's it?
Well, my mother bought a piano and I already knew how to play it. It's one of those weird things that I went, oh, I know you, you know. Yeah, I know you.
Do you know Shirley MacLaine? Yeah.
But, Jason, have you seen him yet?
No, I want to. I'm doing a show myself, so I haven't been able to. And
That's right. You are doing a show. Right now, where?
I'm doing a show at the Court Theater.
Uh-huh.
It's in West Hollywood or Beverly Hills, depending on which side of the street you're on. It's different for me because it's a very heavy drama. It's called Panic in Griffith Park.
Ah, this is it.
We just happen to have the poster.
Panic in Griffith Park. Hey, what's this?
This is a
I
sign,
don't know.
right here, this is a sign for the Jews that were kept in concentration camps, for the Oriental people that were kept in concentration camps after World War II. And this is a sign for the gay people that supposedly, I guess, will be kept in concentration camps if this is not passed. All the money for this play, it is about Proposition 64. It's about these 5 men that are locked in Griffith Park because they're supposedly maybe have AIDS, maybe. There's a question.
I see.
And there's funny, because I'm in it.
Uh-huh.
And it's a wonderful play.
Jason, traffic school. I mean, this guy, you know, he started something very, very funny in this town. Did you know that, Bruce?
I heard about it. He's very popular now with that.
Traffic school. Tell me about this.
Well, I went to traffic school so many times they finally made me the teacher.
You're teaching college.
Around a year ago. Oh, thank you, Rex. Rex, read over there. No, it's a very strange idea. They have comedians teaching traffic school, and around a year ago, I was the first one to do it. So I started doing all the publicity. I did all the interview shows, all the magazine shows,
Right.
And then I did Merv. We've all done Merv.
Right.
You know, it's like Merv's Boys here, and we're also doing a blue number. It's like a theme show. I feel close to Merv at this moment. Okay. No, honestly, the traffic school's taken off totally. I've done a lot of shows, and what I'm doing now is I've written a pilot with a girlfriend of mine, Beverly Burwald, called Traffic School, and
I
it's
see.
in development at places that I can't talk about at this moment.
The hair. Tell me, Jason, I got to right away. Did you get that in the pet shop, the haircut? Or
No,
what?
it was a car accident.
Oh, okay. Jason, where are you from originally?
I was born in New York, raised in Beverly Hills adjacent.
Ah,
Not actually
a
in,
Beverly Hills boy.
yeah, well, not actually in Beverly Hills, but close enough to have a maid once a week and yes, a gardener. So,
I just moved
Bruce,
to Beverly Hills.
You did?
I got a guest house at a mansion. I'm very. Do you wash these
Yeah, wait a
glasses?
second,
'Cause I want to have a
Yes,
glass
they're.
of water.
You
Okay.
washed them, of course. Bruce, tell me.
Hey, I remember the old studio you were at. This is a great studio where he's at now. This is a much nicer than
Is
the
it?
other place. I left my dry cleaning at the office when you come in here. It's much better than the other place.
Bruce,
What? I'm
tell
drinking.
me.
What
I
do you
know you're
want?
drinking, but tell me, where are you actually from, really?
I grew up in Fairfield, Connecticut. And, you know, I grew up there. I went to school in Boston, went to Boston University. And I came out here 8 years ago this October. And that's it. I've lived for a time in New York, and mostly it's just been out here.
Did you do comedy in New York? Did you?
I do it now, but I didn't start in New York. No, I
That's-
started when I went to college in Boston University. I would fool around, you know, once in a while doing it. And I got the bug, and I thought I was funny.
Now, who did you get the bug from? Which comic?
I got it from Dick Shawn in 1963. My mother and father took me to the Catskills, and we went to Grossinger's, and I had been constipated. That for the weekend I was being real miserable because with my parents, and they took me to see a show, and I laughed so hard, zoop, everything went well. So I owe Dick Shawn for getting me into show business and for making me regular.
and clearing up that
Right.
constipation.
So and after that, then I started listening to like Alan Sherman records and Bill Cosby, and then Jackie Mason became a very big influence in my life, and then Robert Klein, lots of, lot of great comics.
I see.
And now it's you.
You did start with me, though, at the
Yeah.
Hyatt on Sunset.
That's right.
Remember?
1978. You were the only person in town
No,
that
not-
put me on at that point.
Mitzi Shore
'Cause
did too.
No, she never put
She
me
never
on.
did?
No, didn't think I was good. You were
Really?
the only person that thought that I had some promise.
Now you know where I'm now? I'm at the Ramada Inn in Beverly Hills, the
I know
Ramada
where that is,
Hotel in
sure.
Beverly Hills.
They didn't close that down yet?
No, no.
Oh, okay.
I'm there presenting new talent there every Sunday and Monday now.
Uh-huh.
But DaleGonyeaJasonStuartBruceMarinoff.
Yes.
I gotta
Skippy
know.
Low. Can I ask you a
What
question?
transitions he makes,
Wait,
you know?
no way.
But, Dale, go.
What does the E stand for?
Oh, I wanted to ask that.
Oh,
Ever
I'm sorry.
loving,
Does everybody ask
everlasting,
that?
and ever ready.
Oh, I like that.
Tell me something.
Yes.
I gotta know this wonderful thing you did last night, the mother and the father. Tell me about that. You
Well-
wrote this, and you also write jingles too.
I write jingles.
You
yeah.
do?
That's how I lived for a long time. Actually.
Really? Tell me about that space.
Well, because if you want to stay in, and you guys know this, if you want to stay in town and play the different clubs, they don't really. Los Angeles clubs don't really pay. Like
No, they don't.
if you want to get paid, you go to Minnehaha or wherever on the road, and to Yuck Yucks and
Yes.
Hee Hees and you know.
Yes.
So I wanted to stay in town, and I ended up looking for jingle work because I know that they pay very well, and I could go and work for $1.50 at the comedy clubs at night. And so I wrote one that was up for a Clio Award. In fact, it was a National Tom McCann jingle. That was I don't know. It's very strange.
Go ahead, sing it for us, Dale.
I knew you were.
ahead.
I'm trying to remember how it goes. It was like. Your lips gave me the blues. Do you like? Oh, I can't remember how it goes.
It doesn't matter.
And it
Dale.
won
Where
a
did you get
Clio.
those shoes? Tom McCann. I don't know. I won a Clio, and I.
And you can't remember it.
You work with people like, like big stars. I mean, you were on the show. You did Ice.
I was in
Fantasy
the
Ice.
last year. I did a tour
Fantasy-
with Dorothy Hamill.
Yes. Tell me
And
about
that was,
What do you mean,
incredible.
you did Ice on the ice.
I was on the ice, but the piano was on a wooden platform, and they
Right.
wheeled it out, and I skated out to it. Which was,
Yes.
well,
I miss Dale Gagne skating.
I don't know if I'd call it skating, but I mean, I got from one point to the next.
And you did your act. on
And I
ice.
did my act. It
On
was
ice.
wonderful.
And Barry Manilow. Tell me
And,
about
oh,
that.
you know what the best thing was?
Manilow skip.
yeah,
Manilow.
Manilow?
I've heard of him. Yeah.
Okay, yeah.
Barry Manilow. I wrote a song called "I Need Your Help, Barry Manilow."
Right.
Ray
That
Stevens did
Ray
that,
Stevens
right?
had
Yes.
recorded, yeah.
Uh-huh.
And that was up for a Grammy.
Really?
That was yours. Yeah.
That was mine.
Where have you been? You don't know anything.
I don't know. I'm stuck in that Fakakta traffic school.
You are?
I can't get out.
Is it very hard in that traffic school? Tell me about a lot of people. What do you tell these people?
People ask crazy questions like, if you're sitting in the back seat, do you have to wear a safety belt? I said, not if you're Jewish, because we're the chosen people.
Ooh.
Okay.
You know what's terrible? If you get caught, I'm a terrible driver, and I got caught the other day with a ticket, and I was with a radar gun, so now I can't have children. But it's sad. No, it is. It's really, you get a lot of crazy people in class, and we do things. It's 8 hours. You do your act. What is it? At the most, 45 or an hour. You have to be funny for 8 hours. So
I see.
we play things like Family Feud, Survey Says, stuff like that, and we try to entertain the people and make them come back. And everybody's come to my class: producers, directors. Justine Bateman was in my class.
They're having fun
Oh yeah.
going to traffic school. That's what it's all about,
Oh, man,
right?
it's such torture if you
Is
don't
it
have.
traffic school? Really?
I had to go. And I'm a good driver too. I get a
I
lot
bet
of.
you're the best driver.
I'm slow, and I get a lot of people aggravated. I really annoy people. I was once given the finger by a carload of nuns. That's how slow I go. It's not a
What
pretty
kind of
sight.
finger? I mean, like what?
Just a quick joke, Skip. We can't analyze the finger. Pick one,
A big one, right? Tell me about Joan Rivers. Now,
Very
you were on her
nice
show.
woman.
Is
This
she?
woman,
You've known her
basically-
before, though, didn't you? Didn't you meet
No,
her?
I work at Carlos and Charlie's. When she does her workshops, if she has to cancel, they call me up and I fill in for her.
I
But
see.
I don't even know if she ever heard about me, but the talent coordinator of the show, Mark Breslin,
Yeah.
knew who I was and thought I was the first unknown to do her show. So it's a nice
I had
little
my showcase
thing.
at the E Little Club years ago.
And
Remember?
she used to do her
when Joan was
workshops.
there? Yeah,
So
she
you're
was
not
there.
an unknown,
Yeah.
Bruce. My God.
Oh,
Well,
well,
to you,
Bruce.
I'm not
No.
unknown.
No,
Shut
but
up.
that's
You're
true,
blowing
no.
my cover. Shut
Bud
up.
The
Freeman.
guy has been on every
Shut up.
every talk show.
Yeah, we
except
know.
that.
Bud Freeman. Tell me about Bud Freeman.
Well, we had a big falling out. I haven't worked his club in a long
What do you mean,
time.
big falling out?
Oh, here comes the
Oh yeah,
fish.
you have falling outs, because of one thing or another, and it was one thing or another, and it was settled. It was so amazing. It was settled on Tuesday, and I did the Rivers show yesterday, and I wound up plugging his show on the Rivers
Right.
show, which is something I would never have ever thought I would done. But because we patched things up the night before, it just shows you in this town how things can happen. It says you never know, you can never say never. It's the one thing that I've learned, and I'll be in the Vegas Improv, which is next week, October 27th, at the Riviera Hotel.
That's
So,
where I was going
go
to be.
figure it. Yeah,
You were?
well,
Yes, that's why he called me. I understand now.
DaleGonye.
I would never take money out of your mouth, Jason.
DaleGonye, I have to know about the comedy, the Paramount Comedy Theater.
Oh,
Tell me about that.
Okay, it's a new video that's coming out in, they're releasing 5 videos of Paramount that are new comedians, but
Right.
each video is 4 comics,
Yes.
and they release them every 3 months starting this Christmas.
Yes.
And they've never been shown on cable TV or regular any TV. So it's the first time a comedy video of this nature has been done specifically for the home video sales market, sales and rental. And Howie Mandel hosted it.
I must say,
was fun.
I saw you last night, and you moved around that stage. I mean, like an hour and a half. He really.
Can I tell you
you're
what my
like,
favorite thing is?
Yeah, go ahead.
My favorite thing is I've gotten some reviews on the show, and Variety said
Great reviews. I must
they were
say.
they were.
Yeah,
I was very
really
happy.
good reviews.
The hardest
Great.
part for me was
Some of the
trying to
best.
write them in different styles, you know, of each paper, you know. Forget it. Anyway, no, the Variety said he's a good dancer. I'm telling you. This is about someone who's I've never danced in my life, but I learned one dance for this
With
show.
the piano. With the piano.
We did American in Pittsburgh. Yeah,
I see.
that's what I call it. Yeah. And I have a piano. Remember the old Chesterfield boxes that used to have
Yeah.
legs? We have a baby grand piano that with legs that comes out, and we do a pot of together.
And you
It's
know what
great
I
fun.
liked about your act last night, in the act, is your dad.
My dad.
What is
yeah.
that? Something, tell us just a
I
little.
love my
just-
dad. Well,
He's in your show?
Yeah,
My
no,
dad-
no, he does a thing about his father. Go ahead.
I wrote about my mother, I wrote about my father, then I ran out of parents, and I had to think of new things to
Right.
write about. But my dad is like just the greatest guy. He's the guy that's selling tickets at the basketball game, you know, and everybody knows him. Hey, Vince, how you doing?
Right,
Hey, how are the kids? You know, 9 kids, and one Christmas I didn't know what to give my dad, so. Because what do you give the man who has nothing? You know, absolutely nothing except 9 kids.
It's lovely, lovely.
So I wrote-
Very touching. I love that.
Give him a vacation.
I wrote him a song. Yeah. Yes.
See, comedy has pathos, and I love when comedians are very funny, and all of a sudden they get into that pathos. You do that sometimes, don't you, Bruce?
Only when I talk about my love life. That's basically it. Because the women, hopefully with
That's pathetic.
now that I've been on national television, maybe I can get a date.
Bruce Marinoff, do you consider yourself a stand-up comedian, or do you do any acting, or do you sing?
I studied acting, but I really never really had any acting work. So I guess I have to, and I write also. I've written some scripts.
You do?
Yeah, I mean, nothing's been sold as of yet, which is, you know, nothing new in this town. But yeah, hopefully, I guess the stand-up is my strength, certainly, yeah. So I have to call myself a stand-up
Yes.
comedian.
Bruce and I met in Harvey Lembeck's comedy workshop.
Yeah, we studied
Great.
that. That was a
Years ago
great,
when Harvey
that was a
was alive.
wonderful class.
Yeah, because
yeah.
I'm the exact opposite. I started as an actor. I never thought I was funny. Bruce knew that. He used to tell. I never thought it was funny
You
when
started
I
as an actor.
Totally, yeah.
Really?
Yeah, so it's nice to be back in the theater.
Well, why
doing
did you
Panic in
change?
Griffith
Because you
Park.
went to, as a comedy in a comedy workshop, and then all of a sudden you found out that you had the ability of doing comedy. Is that?
Because I was getting jobs because I was funny. I was not getting jobs because I was the next Robert De Niro.
What makes a person funny? Tell me, gentlemen. I mean, 3 comedians here. What really, getting out there, is it it's attitude, is it, Bruce? What do you think,
Well,
Jerry?
for me, it's 2 things. One thing is shock. If you shock people, and if you take, for me, my favorite kind of humor is taking something staid and like church or an opera or something like that, and doing something like when I went to the opera when I was a kid. The funniest thing I ever saw in my life was in Tosca when she leaps off and kills herself at the end
Yes,
of the
yes.
opera, and she bounced on this thing that they put for her, and she came back into full view accidentally. And that's the funniest thing in the world for me. And it's also surprise when you don't
Surprise.
expect it.
Yeah. And you, Bruce?
Well, I guess it's a sense. I want to entertain, so I know I have that sense, and it's an ability to share my my pain in a way that I know isn't hurting any. I mean, it comes all from inside. It comes from my childhood. Happy kid, you know, wasn't very happy, and
So
I
you get
can
up there
relate
on that stage and you give it out.
Yeah, and it's the want to, you know, the wanting to
Uh-huh.
be loved and be accepted, even by a group of people who I really don't, you know who
You're
they
still
are.
not happy, are you, Bruce?
But gentlemen,
Well, Doc, I don't know.
No, you know what I,
gentlemen, it's attitude,
what
too.
I think it is, for me, what I think it is, it's like my mother said it perfectly. When first time my mother came to see my act was 2 years after I did it because she wanted to make sure I was a success before she came, you know. And she came in, I said, Ma, what do you think? She said, well, they're laughing, I guess you're funny. And I said, I said, come on, Ma, what is it? She said, well, you're doing all the things you did as a kid, which I really hate, now you're getting paid for it, and it pisses me off. So that's what it is. You're getting to do anything. You can say and do anything you want. It's free reign to just sort of dish with people and just sort of say things that you've always wanted to say, and just the kind of things that you think. Because I think that most comedians think funny. That's just in their head. We see a situation: you're at a funeral, your grandmother throws herself on the coffin, you want to go, get up, what are you doing? And to me, that's funny. And I know it's a sad situation, but I see the humor in that. That's the way I think.
Do you write your own material?
Yes, but I've been known to, if somebody will sell me something, I'm going to smack you.
Bruce, do you write material?
You steal?
No, do you write?
Babe. Huh? Do I write? Of course I write.
You write your own.
But come on, some of us buy things occasionally.
My friends help me out.
Yeah, or your
absolutely,
friends,
sure.
you sit, your bull sessions
Somebody will
with
have
friends.
somebody will say, you know what would really enhance that? If
Exactly.
you can write a 15-minute piece, and somebody will say, I thought of a great line for that if you want to use it.
And it makes
and it'll make the piece.
Or you
so
buy
much
one
better.
line and you can write a piece around the whole thing. That's
I
what
can't
I've
understand why Joan Rivers is upset because of Frank Marino, the female impersonator who does Joan Rivers.
I heard all about
and,
that.
And she's suing him, but she dropped the suit. And she, why should she be upset?
Because he's doing her act, the act that she is doing now, that she's going to be doing on television. I think that in the papers, she said that he could use any of her old jokes.
Oh,
and
is that it?
I think that I also read that she gave him clothes to wear and everything. I read this in the yeah.
I see. You're probably
everything.
right, yes.
Yeah, and she's using, now she has her own show. People,
so
if she's down the street doing Vegas doing the same act, people are going to say, hey, we can go see that the impersonator for half price.
That's not fair. I don't think anyone should steal
When
someone's
you
act.
do impressions of somebody famous, you have to, it would be
Come up with your own
come
stuff,
up with your
yeah.
own stuff.
Or use something that's so old that it's not
Bruce,
something they use anymore.
I'm sure if someone has cut, you work in the clubs, you break your material. Let's face it, you go to the comedy store, you break your material.
I don't go
There
to
are
the
a lot,
comedy store.
but there are a lot of
It's 9
people have
times you've mentioned the
recordings.
comedy store.
There are a lot of comics, young comedians
Yeah.
have tape recorders,
Yeah.
and they tape your material,
Yeah.
and then they steal a little
Yeah,
things.
but you see,
What do you do? How do you handle
This
this?
is how you handle it.
How do you-
A, you do one of two things, okay? One is you beat the crap out of the guy, but I can't do that, so I'm not going to do that. The other thing is you don't worry about it, because if someone's stealing from me, if they're that low that they're going to steal, then obviously they don't think that much of their career they're thinking of the short term, they're not thinking of the long term. So let them steal it, what are they doing? They're doing it in Minnesota. There's nothing I can do about it. Sure, they'll make a couple of bucks, but meantime, I'm taking my time and I'm doing the bigger shows,
Yes.
and my price will go up and up and up, and hopefully I can become a celebrity and a star, while this person is still busy stealing for $200 a week.
The only thing that's upsetting sometimes is like when I went to New York, I went to play New York, and I was playing a club called Caroline's, and somebody came in, and apparently there was a guy in New York doing a lot of my act.
A lot of your act.
And I didn't know it, and someone came up and said, thank you. And so when someone came up to me and accused me of stealing it from him, then you go,
Is that frightening?
no,
Yeah, 'cause
wait a
I've
minute.
had- that is.
That's
I've
kind of
had-
upsetting, isn't it,
It's
Dale?
upsetting because
Yeah.
you think that, you've worked hard, and
Who was this person?
especially when they used my own mother's name, It's like,
But you know what happens is a lot of times is the bigger comedians, like Rivers and Brenner, will buy material from people who have stolen from the Cubs, and that's happened to me.
right.
And that's not it's not their fault at all, because how can they know? You
I
know.
see.
But that happens.
I see.
And a lot of times there, in a way, there is no more original thought. It's
Somebody offered me your whole act last night. I got news for you. I passed.
well, you thought you don't have enough money for hairspray.
DaleGonye. Actually, Michigan. Where in Michigan?
Monroe.
Monroe.
Monroe is,
Well, go ahead.
it's known for Monroe shock absorbers. We'll give them a plug. You know that?
When did you come to Hollywood? Tell me about DaleGonye.
I came to Hollywood right out of the University of Michigan, like 11 years ago.
11.
And I think that I first met you about 9 years ago,
Yes,
I think,
at
or
the
something
Hyatt
like that. At
on
the Hyatt,
Sunset,
yes.
yeah. You came in
And
one
I
night
came
to
in
do a
and
show for
yes,
you.
exactly, yep.
Yeah.
And so I came here to be Billy Joel, and he beat
You
me to
really
it.
did, didn't you?
I did.
Yeah. But you changed your whole attitude. When did that happen?
In a piano bar. I was in a piano bar, and I was doing a lot of my original material, and I was doing As Time Goes By over here, and Tie a Yellow Ribbon Around the Old Oak Tree, and then I would do one of my own songs. And one night, to get people's attention, I put a tablecloth on my head and sang, Who Can I Turn To, and the whole room was like, and then I thought, I can get this room. And so every night I would do ridiculous things. I learned how to play standing on my head. I mean, I did outrageous things.
yeah,
Yeah,
right.
I would wear tux, tails, but underneath I would have gym shorts. You know, like that kind of thing. And people used to come in to see me be a nut. But the only reason I ever became a nut was because that was the only way I could get
the
their
attention.
attention.
Welcome to the
What a
club.
great story.
Welcome to
Isn't that
the
a great
club.
story?
Next thing I knew, I had 15 minutes. You know.
Yeah, you had a great crowd there last night. They
Oh, they were
really,
fun, yeah.
But it's a cult. You know something? You became a cult, I think. I really
That's
think
fine.
Dale
Like the Manson family, that's what I was
Gonye.
gonna say.
Say that again.
They
Like-
heard it. Don't worry about it.
No, but you know, the thing is, it's very funny. Somebody once said to me, do you really think that you're, have a wide commercial appeal? And I said, I don't really care as long as I can find 2 people that'll each pay $500,000 a show.
No, you know what David Brenner once said? It only takes 20% of the people to make you a star, and that's it. You know, and that's
Yes.
very true.
That's
and
true.
you know, look at me. I mean, I came in this town, started 10 years ago as an actor, and people said, "Excuse me, let's move on." You know, I was odd, I'm unusual, I'm different, and the more strange I've become, and the more sort of madcap and crazy, the more successful I've become.
Is that what it takes to be strange, Bruce? Or
Look
just?
at him.
I mean, is it really? I don't know. Is it?
Either that or talent,
or
I
ta-
think.
But no, you're
no,
telling me.
it's easy.
No.
I'm going to smack you so hard that your mother's going to do.
Well, I mean, you just
I couldn't
said,
resist.
Are we strange? The 4 of us is a motley crew. You know, look at us. You know, we're all.
Could you see us working at Sears in the
Yeah,
tire
really.
department? I mean,
He's
come
right.
on.
He's right. Do you think if we went to like Bellingham, Washington right now, people would go, "Oh, there's the Smiths."
No, you know what it takes is, it takes perseverance, for one thing.
And
Because-
believing.
constant,
And
constant. And
believing.
believing in
You
yourself.
have to believe.
Yeah.
And if you believe, other people will believe because they don't know what they want. Believe
Yeah,
me.
yeah.
You know, who's the new guy now that's the new, what is it, Bob Goldthwait? You know, I mean, who would think that 10 years ago, or Sam Kinison, who, and all these character comedians are really in, so the weirder you are, the more attention you're going to
But you don't have to be weird, I don't think. I think the thing is to be the most you. I mean, now I sound like I'm doing an essay,
Yeah,
but
yeah.
you know what I
But
mean.
what would you
But I just happen to be, to me it's not
Kumbaya.
weird. But to me, who I am is not weird. I feel, you know,
Right.
Hey,
You're
Jason,
an individual. You are Jason
weird,
Stewart.
okay?
No, he's not. He's
He's
Jason
not weird, no,
Stewart.
he's-
He is a definite style in his own, and that's
I used
it.
to be weird and different, and now I'm unique and strange.
With that hook, he
That's
has
good.
traffic
Right.
school.
That's
He
fine.
can go to the top overnight with that hook traffic school because no one has this traffic school type of thing.
That's
You
true.
just hit it. It's a
Yes.
hook.
It's a hook. He's got a
hook.
better hook than the both of us.
But
Well,
no,
you got a great
yeah.
hook with the song.
Yeah, but look at you.
I only got a hook nose. That's it. That's as close of a hook as I got. But you know, I got some. You know, I finally got a little.
Yeah, but I
luck
think
in
you have
my
an
life.
appeal that's everybody. You're like everybody's friend.
He's a nice guy.
Yeah,
Nice
you're
guy.
a real
You're a
nice
real
guy.
nice guy, yeah.
And I think that look at Gary Shambling. I mean, a nice guy. Another-
Nice guy.
Yeah.
And with this suit, you should.
This I got in Australia. I got this
Oh,
suit
tell
in
me about
Australia.
Australia, Bruce.
Well, we were talking about it before.
Yeah.
Lovely people, the Australians. They like to drink. You know they drink, and they vomit all over the place. This is how they live. This is the day in their life. They drink
Gotta
like
call
there's
my
no
agent.
tomorrow. But they're rowdy people in the shows, and they're very enthusiastic, and they
What
come,
is there to do there? What is there to do?
The country? Are you
hop
kidding me?
around?
Sydney? Oh,
I saw
shut
Crocodile
up. Don't be-
Gundy
don't-
or whatever
It
that
was
guy.
taped in New York. What are you talking about?
No, but the first part, this
Oh,
guy,
it's
he's
in
running around in the
Australia? Yeah, well, that's-
forest.
right, but that's
the reviews are
outback.
good.
Yeah,
the
but-
reviews are good.
Sydney, Australia is like San Francisco. It's like a phenomenal city. It's hip.
Yeah,
It's
it
got
is.
art. It's got
Yeah.
things to do. It stays open until
Opera,
5
yeah.
o'clock in the morning. There's
Yeah.
more to do there
So
than
they
there's the
can
whole state.
drink.
They can drink and they vomit. That's
Yeah.
all they do. This is a life for them.
Yeah, Australia.
Wonderful.
Tell me, Dale Gonye, 12 o'clock guy and a 9 o'clock town. Now, what do you mean by that?
Now,
Just
what I mean by that is, it's interesting because somebody pointed out, you know Robert Osborne,
very
the
well.
reporter.
Robert Osborne, yes.
He pointed out in his column the other day that I had gotten the title from a Betty Davis movie that they did, Petrified Forest. The promo was a 12. Here she is, a 12 o'clock dame
That's right.
in a 9 o'clock.
That's
town.
right. Yes.
I didn't
At the-
realize.
at
I
the,
mean, people
didn't know
said
that?
no. I never.
At the
knew
train station. At the train
Right.
station, yes.
Dale is much too young
yes.
to remember
So it's a
that.
takeoff on that, I guess.
I
No.
see.
But what it is it's if you it's appeals to anyone who's ever felt out of place.
Yes.
No matter what kind of out of place, whether you're
I see.
That is
white
very nice.
in
That
an
is
all-black
very
neighborhood,
touching. It
black
is,
in an
yeah.
all-white neighborhood, if you always feel just,
Dale.
and we've all felt, everyone's
Dale,
felt
that-
wish I
at
could
some
see
point.
it.
Yeah, the show's got. Dale, tell me something. Nancy Sher, that
Yes.
girl,
That girl.
she didn't say
yes.
a word on stage. How
She
funny.
didn't have to,
Yeah,
did she?
she's funny.
No, she is. I've known Nancy for, I guess 8 years or something like that. And
She's
I've
from
known her
Brooklyn? Brooklyn?
Yeah, but I've known her from here. She was in a wonderful group called Angel and the Reruns. And when did you ever see that group of
Yes.
all? They
Yes,
were all
yes, yes, yes,
ex-cons,
yes.
and she had the hair teased out to
Yes,
here, and to this little teeny garbanzo bean head, you know, and
But she's gorgeous, though. She's
and
tall.
she's
Beautiful girl.
She's short. She looks tall. Huh?
She looks very tall on that stage.
Well, she's
You're
tiny.
3 feet 2. Everybody's tall for you.
But she's very tiny.
She's very, very tall. Well, me, I can't help it. I was made in Japan. What
But
can I
she's.
help? But
Is that true? Oh.
yes, no.
How many times?
Dale.
Were you born in
Dale, what's happening with Dale Gonye after you leave the theater? You have another week.
After I leave the theater, I go out for a cup of coffee, maybe a drink.
No,
and-
come
oh,
on,
you mean
Dale.
like
Dale, what's
no.
going to happen with your career?
I want to stay in the theater. Now, my people, I love saying that. The people that work for me and with me, my manager and agents we're all looking for going to off-Broadway or going.
I see.
I would like to take the show to Chicago and Detroit and Houston.
It would be great.
And I'd like to do it
San
on-
Francisco would be ideal.
I'd like to do it on cable in San Francisco.
Uh-huh. Bruce,
That sort of
what's
thing.
happening?
Last time I was here, I had my 19th manager. I'm looking for my 20th.
Are you really?
It's all over. Yeah,
You're
it's
kidding.
time
You're
to
looking
look.
for another guy?
I got to find someone, but look, when you're before anything happens, if you can't make money for somebody, they really don't have the time and effort. These are busy people. They got other things to do. So now it's time
Well,
to
that
move
guy
on.
in the back of the bakery too. I mean,
Right, it's
What's
time.
happening with you now?
I
Traffic?
just-
You're
the
doing
traffic
this.
school
You're
to-
doing this wonderful play.
Panic in Griffith Park.
Yeah.
I'm doing
Hysterical.
another 2 weeks.
And then you have something. You have.
Wait, let me tell you. That closes November 2nd,
Mm-hmm.
so please come because all the money goes to No 164. I had a TV movie on called Can You Feel Me Dancing, which was rated number 15 of that week.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, with just
What were you in that?
Great.
I played the DJ that helped this poor blind girl
That's nice.
feel herself dance. Hopefully, the traffic school pilot will commence. I'm hoping school, to make me a.
You're doing very well.
Yeah, it was change me from my semi-celebrity status so I could be affected by my own presence. And I'm maybe gonna. I've heard that I'm gonna be doing Star Search and hopefully River Show.
Great. Wonderful. Tell me, gentlemen, Bruce.
I'm
what
still
would you
blown up by
tell-
his career. This is
Bruce,
sensational. I didn't
what
know
would
it was
you tell
moving
the
this
young
quickly.
comedians out there? Sit quietly and watch the show. What's happening, honey?
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to Skip E. Lowe Looks at Hollywood. Skip's guests tonight are the one and only singing star Jerry Vale, lovely songstress LuAnnSimms, and comedian Sammy Shore. And now, here he is, the man of the half hour, Skip E. Lowe.
LuAnnSimms.
Yeah.
Arthur Godfrey. Oh, how has that been?
Oh, do we have to go into that?
Jerry Vale, do you remember those days?
Sure I do.
Hey,
I was the guy that took Julius LaRosa's place when he got fired.
you're kidding.
Yeah, Julie got fired on the air, and then about a month or two later, I was called, and I went on as a regular on the Arthur Godfrey show, and I was the only one that had never been on the Talent Scout show. Frankly, I couldn't get past the first audition.
I didn't know
It was just
that
one of
you-
those things.
Really?
And
I didn't even know
yeah.
that. Is there?
They called me, and I went down. I took his place, and I stayed on for almost a year.
Uh-huh.
Because it was in the, somewhere in November or December, and I stayed on until the following summer. And then they wanted me to go back in the fall,
Right.
and I said I didn't want to do it. I said I couldn't get up that early in the morning and sing.
You had to get up very early?
I was,
Yes.
How early, Luann?
My singing call was 7:30.
I used to get up at 5:30 every morning to try and loosen up a little bit. And then when I got to the studio, I'd rehearse with the band. And I always felt like I was straining. I never really felt comfortable. Although everybody said it was all right, but I really myself didn't feel it. So when the time came for me to go back, they called me and said, the Godfrey Show wants you to come back. I said, no, I don't want to do it. They said, are you nuts? Everybody in the world was trying to get on the Godfrey Show at that time, and I
Right.
was turning it down. And the guy that took my place became a big star,
Who was
Pat
that?
Boone.
Pat Boone took your place.
Yeah, when I left, they got Pat Boone to do the show, and he became a big star, which
Luann, how did you get on?
rightfully so.
How
I
did you
won
get on?
Talent Scouts.
You
I
did?
actually did. I went, it was right that route. I was in New York. I was visiting an aunt of mine in the Bronx. She was a chef in a restaurant, and they had a trio there, and I got up and sang. It was
Do you
the
remember the song?
Cinderella
Do you
story.
remember the song?
Yes,
What
Don't
was-
Take Your Love From Me. And a man was there, Mike Rizzoli, and he had the Lexington Florist Shop in New York. And Tony Marvin used to go by every day to pick up his red carnation. And Mike just happened to have been there that night. I sang Don't Take Your Love From Me. He said, would you like to try out for Talent Scouts? And I was going to be there another week, so I said, sure, I'd love it.
I'm going to tell you something you're not going to believe. What do you think the song was that I did to try for the first audition for the Godfrey Show?
What was it, Jerry?
Don't Take Your Love From Me.
Really?
I can't believe it.
Really,
I swear to
Jerry?
you. And I got past the first audition, and they called me and they said, we would like you to come back, but we'll let you know when. But I never got called. So I went back again months later for another audition. Sang the song again, Don't Take Your Love From Me.
Isn't that strange?
And I never got past that. And then the other thing happened when they fired La
Because
Rosa.
I had done it.
Yeah, and I had been signed to Columbia Records. So when I signed the contract with Columbia Records, it was in the trade papers, and I made a record. I had a record out, and I guess that was what sold them on bringing me to the Godfrey Show, with never having done the Talent Scout show.
Jerry Vale, records, albums, God, I mean, let's face it, how many millions of albums have you sold? I mean, you've got some gold out there, lots of...
I made 48 albums for Columbia Records.
48.
48 albums and probably 100 singles. At one time, I'm not saying this to pat myself on the back, but it's a fact, at one time I had 22 albums in a row that were on the best-selling charts. Every time I made one, it went right on the best-selling chart. And for 22 times in a row,
Yes.
everything I released made the best-selling chart. So I really don't know. I would probably say 10, 12 million.
You've had a good
something.
career, haven't you, Jerry?
I've been very lucky. I feel
Looking
I've
back
been
over
very-
your life right now, look at
Yeah.
me. Do you have any regrets?
Well, the only regret that I would say that I have right now is that I didn't study music more. I enjoy my singing. I still love to sing. I still work a lot, as you know. I work in
Yes.
Atlantic City, Las Vegas, concerts. I think that the thing that I feel a little bit left out of was the fact that I really didn't study music. I at one time played the bass.
Yes.
And I was playing by ear. And I used to say to myself, well, I'm going to start studying, really, go with a music teacher and so on. And then lo and behold, I got lucky with records.
I see.
And I started to travel, and I started to make some serious money at that time.
So that's your regret.
And so I just put that aside, and I never did follow up on it. And today, even though I probably would never have used it because of the fact that I do sing, and I have a fairly good ear. I mean, if I hear a song, I can learn it pretty easily and record it without too much trouble. But I still feel a little bit of a void in my life as far as not being a true schooled musician. If I ever had it to do over again, I would do that.
Arthur Godfrey, was he, what kind of guy? I know you're going to sit there and tell me he was great and all that. Probably he was. But LuAnnSimms,
Yes.
really, what kind of man Arthur Godfrey really was?
Well, he was a self-made man. And they say, you know what they say about self-made men. He was a boss. He was very strict with us. Why? The reason he fired Julius is Julie wanted to get a manager. And Mr. G used to say to us all the time, you don't need anything more than this. We had 55 million people a day watching us. And what more do you need? And because he needed to be in control. He was always in control.
He controlled the whole thing.
Everything. Everything.
I was on that show, as I say, almost a year. I never said more than hello to him. And most of the time, I had to initiate the conversation. I had to initiate saying hello. I mean, when he came downstairs, where we do the show downstairs in it was 52nd Street.
52nd, yeah.
He would come
Between
in,
Lexington
and everybody would be
Madison.
Everybody would be like,
tight.
he's here, like, be careful. And even the people that were regulars on the show, like at that time, Frank Parker was still there, and Janet Davis.
Marion Marlowe.
Marion Marlowe was still there.
Holly Loki.
And they would, I don't know if Holly Loki was still there or not. Maybe she might have been. And they would all, you could just feel like if everybody was relaxed, and as soon as the door opened, he came in, everybody would, like this, And I would say, hello, Mr. Godfrey, and he'd say, and then he'd go on the air. And he'd go right out and start the show. I mean, he wasn't downstairs 30 seconds. Never said more than hello to him. He was not that kind of a man.
I think he was shocked by the public. You know, the public went against him. It was the first time the public
What do you
ever
mean
went-
against him? Because of Julius
when he
Rosa?
fired Julie. I think that he was so shocked that people went against him, that he changed even more after
I
that
see.
point in time. We had pictures, you know, the show, I was on the show from 52 to 55 and a half. I was 3.5 years on
3.5
the
years,
show.
uh-huh.
And we had such a great thing going for that until the thing was
Yes, yeah,
Julius.
uh-huh.
And then it just like
Then it just
all
fell apart.
It turned around.
But
and
what's
fell
new and exciting right now in
Before you do
Luann,
that,
go ahead.
Before you do
Yeah,
that,
go
I
ahead.
want to just tell you one
Go
thing.
ahead.
When Luann and I first started our careers in New York,
Yeah.
Mitch Miller signed me and signed her.
Uh-huh.
We had a recording session. The first time I ever made a record, first time she ever made a record, we split the session.
You're kidding.
Together.
I
Oh,
did
that's
2
right.
sides and she did 2
How
sides.
nice.
That was December 23rd, should I tell him?
Sure.
Go ahead.
52. December 23rd, 1952.
You two have been around a long time.
Yeah.
And we've been friends.
Yes.
I've known him
I like-
longer than
Yeah.
Rita.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, my wife is very
I like
friendly
to
with
say that.
Luann, and my wife are very friendly. And of course, we've been
Yes.
friends, lasting relationship for a lot of years.
That's great.
You know, it's really interesting, too. It's one of those, Rita and I came back in contact with each other December 23rd, 1984. It was to the day
Really?
Yeah.
that Jerry and I had done our first session. It was really strange.
LuAnnSimms, you look wonderful. You seem happy. And
Oh,
tell me, what
thank
is
you.
exciting new in your life right now? There must be something in your life. Is there a man in your life? Are you married or anything?
No, I'm
Do not have a
single.
man in your
no,
life?
No, I don't have a man in my life.
But why?
And
you
I don't
you look
why
great.
do I look so good?
Yeah.
I am very healthy, thanks be to
Uh-huh.
God.
Are you still singing?
No,
No.
no.
Why?
I've been
But-
telling her to go
but-
back into
but
it,
why?
but she
But
doesn't
your
listen.
next guest,
Yes.
who is going to run in here any moment,
yes,
I can
Sammy?
feel it.
Yes.
Keeps telling me that this is my comeback. This
Uh-huh.
is the beginning of my comeback.
Well.
Jerry has, in fact, said,
Uh-huh.
why aren't you singing again? And I'm beginning to get to that place, believe it or not. It's even strange to me,
Uh-huh.
where I am getting ready to, I'm going to start working with a piano player, Danny Coates, very fine piano player, and try to get that instrument back in shape.
I understand Susanna Foster. I had her on the show, and she announced that she's going back to singing again.
Oh,
Isn't that
fantastic.
wonderful?
Terrific.
Yes.
Susanna, but
That
you know
is
something?
terrific.
There's a great book out. It's called The Warm-Up. And you know, the man who's responsible for the Comedy Store is here, and it's your friend, Jerry, and yours. And I haven't seen him since Chicago, Illinois.
You mean he's here in
He's
person?
here. I have seen Sammy
Oh,
Shore since
yeah.
Chicago,
Handless.
and I want to say hello, Sammy Shore. How are
Sure, that's
you?
good. Hi, Sam. How are you?
No, no,
Jerry?
it's the
Have you
kisses.
been?
No, the kisses.
How are
I don't
you,
like
Sam?
to kiss on that like that. That's everyone kisses when they come on a
Sammy
television show.
Shore.
Hi, Skip.
This
How are you?
book.
Thank you. It's in its 7th printing. The other 6 were dull. The
I read
printing-
it, by the way. It's wonderful.
It
It
is,
is a
yes.
wonderful book. It really is.
And it was a play,
Yeah, it's a play, and I'm working on the movie version of it.
a movie version.
Yeah.
Tell me about that.
I don't
I mean,
want it
go
so
ahead, Sam.
painful.
Is it really, Sammy Shore, is it really Sammy Shore's life?
Yes,
Is
it's
it?
my life. Yeah, it's my life as a warm-up comedian. It's about always being number 2 and dealing with that all of my life, and being this man that's
Dealing with what?
being
number 2?
number 2.
But you were not number 2.
I
You
was
worked
number
with
1,
Elvis.
number 2.
You worked with Elvis Presley,
Hear what I
the
just said?
opening act.
Yes,
Yes.
yes.
Yes. But that is being
Well-
number 1, too, with Elvis. You know, when you work in stars like that, you're not number 2, Sammy. I don't
Well,
like that word, number 2.
It's just that I'm not. I didn't attain the stardom as Robin or the guys that are making it today. Or
Right.
I reached a certain point in my career where I became number 1, number 2. I was the best at what I did.
I see.
So that's what I mean. And not that that was fine. I'm really happy with that, and I'm still doing that.
There are
And
many comics who would wish they could work with
With
people like
Elvis
Elvis
Presley
Yeah, we just-
and Sammy Davis Jr.
Julio, I
mean,
did 3 months with Julio and Galezi.
Julio. I mean, what? Hey, tell me, was that fun working with him?
No. And
Why
not really,
wasn't it fun?
because I didn't understand what was going on. No,
he's charming,
Yeah, he's a
isn't he?
very charming man.
Have you
He
met
is.
him, Jerry?
To all the
Julio.
girls I
Yes.
loved
Yes,
before.
wonderful guy.
I'm Jewish and I'm 5'4".
Is he
He's,
small?
Yeah, well, he's about my size.
Is he
Yeah,
really?
that's why he pushed
5'9",
me out.
10, something like that, isn't he?
Yeah, he's about a little taller than I, but when he
Yeah.
stands up straight, with my new hips, I'm 6'3" now.
What do you mean by
I have
new
new
hips?
hips. I have new metal titanium hips that
Oh,
I put in.
okay.
Replacements, you know. And I went out with this girl. I went to her apartment. She had a magnet on the refrigerator door. Right up against the door. I have metal hips. I had it done five and a half months ago, and it wore out because of the pressure, because of doing what I'm doing, because I was crazy, and it just went into my hips and the bone on the bone. Blah, 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 blah. Before I went into the surgery, my doctor, this is true, Dr. Dorr at Sentinel Hospital said to me, Sam, don't worry about it. We're going to do both at the same time. I said, you'll go in, and after surgery, we'll have you up. You know, out of the recovery room, we'll have you up. The next day, you'll be up again, and 3 days, you'll be on your way home. I said, Doctor, you mind if I lie down during the surgery?
Sammy,
Yes.
I mean, people like Elvis, was it fun working with him?
Yes, it was.
Did you learn a lot from him?
Well, I didn't learn anything from him. I was in fear every night.
Fear?
Yeah, I learned how to deal with my fear. Well, walking out in front of them, they did not want to see me.
The opening act of,
Yes.
yeah, you're right.
They did not
It's
want to
difficult.
come out and see me, you know. I mean, I
had
was
to go
taking up their time. But I would walk out every night and do something different. I would usually, I had a stairway build. I came down reciting Shakespeare once. I came out dribbling a basketball. Every night I had to come out. We're working the Hilton Hotel, the International at the time,
Yes.
2,500 people. So, you know, I'm short and I'm a little guy, and to walk out in front of this big, enormous band, I was taking up their time. But I had to do something to grab. Once I got them, then they forgot about who was coming out after them.
Where did
So-
Sammy Shore come from, really?
Chicago.
Originally?
Yeah, that's my home,
And
Chicago.
that's where you met Mitzi?
My ex-wife. No, I met Mitzi up at a resort. She worked in a resort.
Tell me about that.
It was painful because I didn't know that she was going to open the comedy store.
But she didn't open the comedy
no,
store.
I know.
You were the one who opened. Tell me about Mitzi. How did you meet her?
Well, she was the secretary to the guy that owned the resort, and I was the social director and the comedian.
I see.
So she used to type up my jokes.
Yeah,
You
I
see,
see.
and we worked together, and she would tell me what to do and what not to
I
do.
see.
And I should have listened to her. And we fell in love, or you know, whatever it is.
But
and
you
then
came to California in the 70s?
Yeah,
and you got
19
this club
19
was Old Cyril's.
it was Cyril's.
Cyril's.
Yes.
And you
I
tried
opened
it-
it up in April 10th, 1972, with Rudy DeLuca, who was writing for me at the time.
Right.
Rudy and I opened it up, a little small room at Cyril's, and not even knowing what it would ever become.
Right.
Rudy, the director, you mean?
Rudy, yeah, the writer and
the writer,
director.
yeah.
And he was doing the Carol Burnett show at the
Yeah.
time. And we just opened this little room, invited all our friends, and it was just a hit. It just became, you know, the talk of the industry, and everybody was coming
And
out
it was
every night.
called then?
The Comedy Store.
The comedy, the
Yeah.
original comedy.
Yeah, I must tell you something about
Yeah.
Sammy. I go to a lot of the Friars roasts.
Yes.
For different stars. Sammy is at every one of them, and at every roast, he's a smash hit. I must tell you that.
Thank you, Jerry.
There are many people that get up and they talk
Yes,
and they
yes.
try to be funny and they try to say funny things about the people. I've never seen Sammy miss. I've been to a dozen of them in the last 2 years. He is always a tremendous hit at all those things.
And that's why I have all of Jerry's albums.
Sammy, but you started that club. But
Yes.
today, the comics that are at the comedy store, some of the comics,
Yes.
I mean, do you agree what they're saying on that stage, Sammy
No,
Shore?
not really.
Huh?
No, I
Because
don't- I
you
don't
didn't
do-
attend that. You didn't
When
attend-
I started the Comedy
That's
Store,
right.
I didn't allow anything, any four-letter words on
That's
the
right.
stage. I would go to the kid and say, hey, you know, because I don't like it myself.
Yeah, right.
You know, and they didn't. You know, Hell's Dams, whatever. But,
Right.
and then, you know, when I gave it
She
to
took
Mitzi in
over.
1974, you know, when she took the Comedy Store over, I don't think she really cared about what was happening on the stage. Not that she didn't care, but that's where that generation of comedians came in, and they were using four-letter
Changed it.
words
And
and
changed
sex and
Right.
drugs and
Yeah.
whatever it is, and
Yeah.
so it became, hey, people
Hip,
came
hip.
to see it.
Yeah.
What are they going to do? Say, don't swear. We're filled up. Oh, will you swear? They won't come in. They'll swear. They'll come in.
Yeah.
Who cares? You know, she had a business. And she ran it the way she ran it. She made it what it became. I didn't. I gave it to her. Why did I do that? I didn't know I shouldn't have given. Anyway, but these pain hips, they're stiffening up. Wait a second. My hips are stiffening up. I'm starting to stand. Oh, my God. It's okay.
Okay, are you
I get a
all
little crazy. Yes, Skip. The book is a hit, the movie. Anyways,
Sammy, sure.
I get a little crazy, Skip. It's okay.
How long have you known Luann Simms and Jerry?
Last week.
You work with Jerry, have you?
Well, not a lot, but I've worked with
I've known Sammy, I bet, 20 years, over 20 years.
Yes.
Yeah. And of
We
course,
work similar in Atlantic City. When he's in Atlantic City, I'm never with him. I try to work it out that way. He brings an Italian audience in, and I don't, you know. What am I going to do in front of him? I work with more Gentile acts, you know.
No, Jerry doesn't really bring. He
I
brings
know.
a lot of Italians.
I have a lot of Italian.
You have a
American
lot of
fans,
others.
but
You have
I mean, they come in with it.
The Italian is just a small part of my repertoire. I mean, I just do maybe 2 or 3 songs, and I do an hour and 15 minutes. you
Yes,
know.
you're right.
Yeah, I do some of the older Italian-American songs I've done over the years, but I do mostly, you know, American songs.
Anyway,
Sammy,
so
you have
you want to go?
You have a
wanna
young
go?
man. I want to tell you about your young.
Oh.
You have a.
I have a young son whose name is Paulie Shore. He's 18 years old, and he's a comedian. And he's just started out. He's been just doing it a few months, and he's doing very well. He keeps calling me up and saying, "Dad, I just killed, and I feel terrible. I feel got such an emptiness in my gut. I'm so jealous of this kid
Said I just killed
working
him,
the
huh?
comedy store that I created, and his mother upstairs and getting standing ovations, and I'm home, worrying, and I'm sitting in my apartment, looking, not working." Pain and the emptiness. And she said, millions of dollars I gave her them with the trucks and the limousines and my son Paulie. Dad, I killed, Dad. I killed them tonight. I really killed the people, Dad. I can't. And I ain't got a job, and I'm home, and I'm worried.
Does she still have the store, the comedy store? Does she still own it?
Mitzi?
Does she
Of
still own
course.
it?
Of course.
I don't know.
Yes,
I never
Mitzi
met
Shore.
her.
Sure, you got to get caught up in the business.
Yes,
It's
Mitzi,
a very
yes.
contemporary
You
business.
don't understand,
Jerry.
Sammy. I don't do comedy.
Yeah, I
do
know.
songs. I
You
do
got to find out
songs.
what's going on in the
I
business,
do
Jerry.
songs.
It's comedy, not singing anymore. Not it's comedians that are making it. They're controlling the networks. They have all the television shows. Everyone is comedy, not me mama. It's over with.
Meanwhile, I started in
Older.
52, and I'm still here.
Where?
That's right.
I'm right here with Skippy Lowe.
That's right.
Oh,
What are you talking
I
about?
love this.
Luann,
will you help me?
problems, Jerry, with the gold. It's
Luann, will you help me?
Always wearing gold.
Next.
There it is, JB. You know why all the Italians have necks like this?
Why?
So when they go before the grand jury, they say, everybody asks them the questions, they go, I don't know, hey.
Do you write your own material?
Well, some of it.
Some of it.
Some of it I create, and some of it I work with. My friend Rudy DeLuca is still with me. Yeah, and we create some things. And I walk out now. I do a lot of
Now, you've been working where now? Atlantic City and
Atlantic City, Reno, Tahoe, Vegas, with various stars.
Various stars,
Julio was wonderful. I enjoyed it.
Where were you
yeah.
working with Julio?
Atlantic City, Vegas, Reno, Tahoe. You know.
Now, how much time do you have to do up front?
4 minutes.
40.
No,
45?
4 minutes. No, I do about what they tell me to do.
Do they?
They say, see, Sam, you get on there and get off. No.
When he's ready.
But no, I do about a half an hour.
You do?
25 minutes, 30 minutes, 35. It all depends. Sometimes when Julio wasn't ready, Sam, he's not ready yet. So I did another 10 minutes because he was bingada whoever he was doing bongada bingada bongada.
I went to see P.S.
My dressing room, I swear, my dressing room was next to his. The girls used to wait in my dressing. They used to come by. I said, come in here, wait for him. He'll be out in a minute. So I was using my bathroom. It's okay, come in here, come in here. No.
Sammy,
It's true.
Sammy, Jerry, you know, I have a showcase, a talent showcase over
Really?
at the
Where?
Ramada Hotel in Beverly Hills.
Yes.
It just started back again.
When, Skip?
Every Sunday and Monday, I'm there. I'm doing like Mitzi does with comics and singers. I've been doing it around here for 12 years. And every Sunday and Monday, I love you people sometimes to drop in just to say hello. I have a lot of stars come in, a lot of nice singers, comics.
I don't want to.
At the Ramada in Beverly Hills. Every Sunday and Monday.
In Beverly Hills, we're on
It's on
Wood Street.
Beverly Drive. It's on Beverly Drive. Right.
And-
And
I
between
know.
Olympic and Pico, right?
Oh, I know.
Why don't you
Very
say,
nice.
that could be
Love
your
you.
comeback.
Yeah, Luann, you would
You
love
could
to come out
start there
sing
and just
something.
come there and he could discover you again. Why not?
Gosh, it sounds good.
Skip Godfrey.
Now tell me
Skip
something.
Godfrey.
Tell me something. Skip Godfrey, tell me something.
Yes, Skip. Tell me the truth.
Yeah,
What you're going to ask me?
Are you married again?
No, I'm not. I'm going with a very lovely
You
young
are?
lady. Yes. Diana Neville. She's an operettist. opera voice.
Really?
And I applaud, I give a standing
You know
ovation.
something?
And she's not even in the building, so she sings across the street.
Thank God you can edit this.
No, not good.
I'm glad you got the
Tell me
scissors.
something.
Yes.
You're going to get married again, you think?
She didn't ask me, asked me, I will. I don't have no idea. I probably, I'd like to get married again, I really
Jerry,
would.
you've been married a long time.
27 years. To
27?
the same lady.
She's a lovely, she was an actor, she was
She
an
was an
entertainer.
actress and a dancer.
Uh-huh.
And we're married first time for both of us.
Uh-huh,
27 years. We have 2 lovely children. I have
Uh-huh.
a boy, 22, a girl, 19.
uh-huh.
And we live in Beverly Hills, as you know. So we're very happy.
Throw that in, huh, Jerry?
We
Beverly Hills, huh?
Are you happy in Beverly Hills?
I love it.
Do you
I think
really?
Beverly Hills is one of the nicest cities.
Shecky moved out. He didn't like it. Shecky
Hancock
Green.
Park.
Oh, he's in
That's next to the mayor.
Hancock.
Is he really?
Different
Lives right next to
strokes
the
for
mayor.
different
Hancock,
folks.
it's lovely.
Yeah,
But
sure.
Beverly Hills is a lovely city. We have lovely people there.
Uh-huh.
We have a wonderful police force. Really, I'm being very, very serious.
Well, I don't know about the police force.
Yes, they are. They're wonderful.
They're-
Call them within minutes if there's anything
They're
wrong
so
going
Don't you
on.
miss
Arrest-
New York? Don't you miss New York?
I love
Sammy?
the cops and, yeah,
But
the
New
cops
York.
in Chicago and
Yeah.
cops, they
Yeah.
wear striped uniforms in Chicago. That's why I like the cops, because when they, we got caught, Thursday, they had to change their clothes, they went right into prison.
Remember the corner store?
The corner store?
Was it the corner
The
store?
Croydon.
The Croydon, no, across
Hotel.
the snow, across the
Oh,
street.
yeah,
the
Croydon,
corner house.
right.
Oh, the corner
The
house.
corner
yes.
house.
That's where I met Lenny
I
Bruce.
stayed there.
That's
yeah.
right.
Oh, God.
I said the corner house.
Sure.
Lenny
And
Bruce in those days
wonderful.
told me, Sammy, forget it. And you know what I mean?
I
said,
subbed in for Lenny here.
Did you
Out here,
really?
yes. I subbed. I had him on. I had Sally on the show several times, and she was just wonderful. Sally Marr. Matter of fact, she's going to do a thing.
The daughter?
No, Sally Marr is the mother
Right,
of Lenny.
that's right,
Yeah.
right.
But, Duane,
Yes, darling.
you've got to get back singing now. Really.
You think
Yeah,
so?
I think so. I think
Yeah.
what you should get back into the
Trying to
business.
talk her
Actress,
into it.
doing things about soaps and stuff, Luann
What
Simms.
about that? And commercials?
And
things
commercials.
like
Are
that?
you doing commercials?
No, but I think I'm going to. I have been out of the business for many years, and now I'm beginning to feel like
You're looking for an
You
agent
know,
now?
maybe, yeah.
She has a very distinctive sound to her speaking
Her voice is
Yeah.
beautiful,
Her
yes.
speaking voice, I think, would be good for commercials.
She's got inner beauty, Skip. The
That's-
with inner beauty is with if I know it. It's in thyself. You live within yourself. The beautiful part of a person is, I've been living within myself now for 54 years. I decided I'd like to move out.
You know
what I'm talking
something?
about? Yes.
The sad part of it is that I understand what he's saying.
Uh-huh.
It is.
54 years.
54, and I'm.
What
I'm
month are
in
you? What's your sign, Sam?
February 7th.
You are
Aquarian.
Aquarius.
Aquarian.
Nice.
July 8th.
You're July. You're
July
Cancer.
What are you,
11th.
Skip?
And I'm Gemini. I'm
Oh,
triple.
Gemini
Triple.
and
Triple.
Aquarians are
I know.
go get along. Male and female. I don't know about
I hope
male
Susan
and male.
Strasberg watches
Isn't
this. She'll tell us.
Haven't we been here longer than a half hour?
No, we haven't,
Oh, I
Jerry.
thought,
It
it
doesn't
seemed
matter.
like the time
Jerry,
went so
what
fast.
difference does it make?
I'm just
We're
curious
having
'cause he
fun,
said before
Jerry.
it was a half-hour
You're so
show.
worried
I
about
don't know.
time. Time is
not worried at
running out
all.
for you, Jerry. It's running. The time
Tell
is
me about the movie
Yes.
now. Tell me about your movie. You're going to do the warm-up.
Yes,
It's going
we're
to be
doing
called
it.
the warm-up?
No, I don't know yet what it's going to be called. I have no.
Do you want to do it?
I'd like to play my father because I played my father in the play,
Uh-huh. You did play the father.
and I won an award.
I
for
just
it,
signed a
yes.
deal with HBO for
You did?
3 pictures, yeah.
Italian.
That's what I've been asking.
Yeah,
Good.
I give them $11 a month and I get 3 movies. So.
Very good, Jerry.
Loves to throw this camera.
So anyways,
Tell me about the warm-up.
I want. I'd like to do the father. I'd like to play my father in it if I can.
Who do you think Sammy
I
Shore?
really like. I like Billy Crystal to play it, but
Perfect.
Billy Crystal. But I think someone else would be. I think even more apropos for it. That would be Barry Miller, the kid that played Peggy Sue. I'm Getting Married.
He's wonderful.
He's marvelous.
Yes.
Yeah, he's
a great actor. He's brilliant. He can do monologues. He can do.
And I love
Yes.
the
I saw the
Wonderful.
picture the other night. It's a very
It's
good
a good
picture.
movie.
And
Yes.
Great movie.
the boy he's talking about is wonderful.
She is a movie star. Kathleen Turner, to me, when I go to the movies, I want to see someone like that. She is a true movie star today.
fabulous.
I think she's great.
Tell me about comics today.
What about
Do
him?
we have any good comics
They're
coming
all working, and.
No, tell me about the comics
Yes,
today.
there's a lot of good young people around.
We do?
Yes, they're coming. Well, like I say, good young people. There are a lot of them that are doing it. Maybe a handful will make it.
It's different than the day we grew up.
Completely
Sandy.
different. Completely
Right,
different.
Jerry?
They have places like the Comedy Store to go, and all over the country now they've opened up all these comedy rooms.
Right.
All over, and they can go and do their 15, 20 minutes, and people come in. It's like a school. There's
That's
no
what it is.
noise.
It's wonderful.
And
It
it's wonderful.
really
Yeah.
is. It's wonderful.
It's like, because that's why those kids are so good on television today, because they have these intimate rooms to work and break in
Yeah.
their material.
Yes.
They're not like when we
You
were,
were
we had to go out
drunks.
and trouble with
The
the
drunks,
drunks and
drunks, right.
scripts
You used the
and
word
the
tumbo.
snakes.
Yeah,
I had
that's
to
the
work
word,
with
too.
Zora the Snake
Yeah,
Act.
yeah.
Yeah.
She had this big big python,
Yeah.
right, chased me, came on the stage and started to
Yeah.
come at me
Yeah.
when I was on, I
Yeah.
swear.
We
That's-
had to work places like
God.
Johnny's in Long Island, the San Susan.
Oh, I
San
worked
Susanna,
with
Long,
San
that's
Susanna.
in Brooklyn. Tell me something. No, that's
No,
in,
in
that's
Long
in
Island.
Staten Long Island.
Near Westboro,
Right,
yeah.
right. Tell me, Jerry, where did Jerry Vale come from?
I'm originally from the Bronx, New York. I lived in the Bronx for most of my growing up life, and then I moved to New Jersey when I got married, and I lived there for about 7 years. After that, we moved to Las Vegas because I signed a deal with Howard Hughes.
Right.
I worked for them for 7 years. I stayed in Vegas for a couple of years after that, and then I moved here 8 years ago.
But what was your first break?
My
That's-
first break came when I went to a wedding in Yonkers, New York, and I used to like to sing, but I never did it professionally. And the fellow who owned the place asked me if I'd get up and sing "I Love You Truly."
Right.
I said, well, okay. I said, I don't know what key I sing. And he said, well, just get the
Yes.
accordion player to help you out. So I did. I sang "I Love You Truly," and the audience, usually after you sing it, there's no
Right.
applause.
Uh-huh.
They, the wedding party comes in, they
Right.
started to applaud. So the boss came over to me after and said, would you like to do this every week? I said, I'd like to, but I don't know if I can, because I was working with my father at
Right.
the time as an oiler on a steam shovel.
Really?
My father was an engineer,
Uh-huh.
And so I went back to work. I went back to this place, a place called the Enchanted Room.
Right.
And I worked there on Saturday nights, and I got $10 for singing "I Love You Truly" and maybe one or two other songs.
Yes.
And that's how I sort of started. I got a
So that's
local
where Jerry
reputation.
Vale came from?
Yeah, Bronx, New York. And I worked my first job in
You
Yonkers.
s- we were talking about Arthur Godfrey, the opening of the show. I said Godfrey, but that's LuAnnSimms.
Ah, it is.
This is one of your songs. When did you record this? Just recently? This is beautiful.
This is a
What is
long
this?
time ago.
Is it really?
Yeah.
There was a gentleman on Arthur Godfrey's show who started also.
Is
His
my
name is Dick Rowe.
dream at last come true? Are you the one my heart has saved its song for? How can I tell? I wish I knew. I wish I knew someone like you.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to Skip E. Lowe Looks at Hollywood. Join Skippy and his guests from La Caja Fole, Mr. Peter Marshall, and from the singing group Chapter 5, Joe Croyle and Carl Edwards. And now, join the man of the half hour, Skip E. Lowe.
Ever loving, everlasting, and ever ready. That's what it means. Everybody asks me that.
I'm sure.
They say it's entertainment, but
I used to be
that's-
Peter L. Marshall,
Peter L.
Yeah, because I was Peter Marshall. I was Noonan and Marshall, so I tried to get away from the
Right.
comedy team. So I went to Peter L. Marshall.
What was L
And
for?
in fact, I started on Broadway with Peter L. Marshall. The L is for La Coque, which is my real name.
Are you Italian or French? That's French.
That's Alsatian, yeah, French,
Yes?
German, yeah.
Where are you from originally?
West Virginia.
Really?
Yes, Huntington, West Virginia. And I made my way to New York when I was about 12.
12.
Been in the business since I'm about 14.
Your sister.
Isn't she beautiful?
Oh, she was one of my favorite lovely ladies on
My
the
sister
screen.
is Ernest Borgnine.
No, she is not. Is lovely Joanne Drew.
Yes, and she's still lovely, Skip.
She really is.
We are having dinner tonight, this
You
very
are?
night, yes.
What is she doing in her life right now?
Joanne is doing nothing except she's busy shopping, buying, spending, and she's married to a very colorful guy. His name is C.V. Wood. He's the fellow that actually designed Disneyland. I don't know if you know that. And he bought the London Bridge and built Havasu, and he was the chairman of the board of McCulloch Oil. He's retired.
You seem happy, Peter Marshall.
I'm pretty happy, except for
You're-
this miserable bronchitis I've got.
You've been doing this wonderful show, La Cage.
For almost 2 years. Just got off the road about 4 minutes ago.
Go ahead.
No, I just said that was terrific. I don't know if I could do it again for 44 cities in a year and 10 months.
But I understand you're going to New York.
Maybe? Yes, they're talking about maybe in the middle of February opening in New York to do the Broadway company for 6 months. Hopefully with the fellow I did the national company with, Keen Curtis, who is maybe the best actor I've ever seen.
Singing.
I am basically, if somebody were to say to me, what are you? You know, I mean, if I'm a singer, I think, yeah.
Is that what you did in your comedy act, singing?
I was a boy singer, now I'm an old man singer.
No, you're not an old man singer, but is that what you did with your comedy act?
Yeah, I was a straight man
and
and sang, and I was a big band singer. I started with big bands when I was 15.
Really?
I was on the road, traveling all over this nation of ours.
15? What do you mean, with big
15
bands
years
like?
of age. Yeah, I was with Bob Chester. That was the biggest band. You never heard of Bob Chester, and probably all the folks watching you never heard of it, but it was a very big band at the time. We're speaking of 1909, you see, so many years ago. But no, in the 40s, and he was out of Detroit, and he had a lot of hit records like Maine to California, Octave Jump, and it was a very exciting band. And in fact, a lot of the guys around today were all around in those days. I was the baby. But Merv Griffin was singing with Freddie Martin in those days, and with Kay Kaiser we had Mike Douglas. Bob Carroll, who did Lacage with me, was with Charlie Barnett and the Jimmy Dorsey Orchestra.
Was what's his name? Merv Griffin.
Merv Griffin, yeah.
Was he around then?
Yeah, as I just said, he was the fellow. He was singing with. I just said the name, and it
doesn't matter.
Yes, anyway.
Anyway,
Freddie Martin. Thank you.
Freddie Martin, right?
Yes.
Peter Marshall.
Yes.
Hollywood Squares.
A long time ago.
Why is it a long time ago? How long?
It was a long time. I've been off the show for about 5 years, I guess.
When did it first happen from Peter Marshall, the Hollywood Squares? How did it all begin?
It's funny how it happened. I was in New York. I've never done a game show, and I was in New York doing a show with Julie Harris, a musical called Skyscraper. And the show closed after about a year, and I came back home, and I got a call, would I like to do a game show? And I said, I'd like to do anything. You know, I'm an out-of-work actor. So they showed me a pilot they shot with Burt Parks, and it was terrific. I said, why aren't they using Burt Parks?
Right.
And they said, we were looking for a non-entity. And I said, well, I certainly am that. And they signed me, and I figured maybe 13 weeks out of it, maybe with luck, 26 weeks. And it ended up 16 years, a little over 16 years. Daytime, 8 years nighttime, yeah. It was a career, really.
Now, how long Paul Lynde was on that show? Paul was on
a show for about 12, 13 years.
Was he difficult to work with?
Not for me. You know, people would say, boy, it must be difficult working with Paul. He never gave me any problems. I used to just scream at him. He would be in a snit. He would come in some nights and just, you know, unhappy, which was, and I would laugh, you know, that he was unhappy, because when he was unhappy, he was very funny. When he was happy, he wasn't too funny. And he was unhappy about 90% of the time, so.
Unhappy 95% of the
time? Yeah, you know, he never wanted to be, he hated performing. He was a very nervous person. I don't know why he was a performer, except he was brilliant at what he did. But he was I'm a comfortable performer.
Yes.
On stage, I'm very comfortable. And a lot of people aren't. A lot of people get very uptight. I'm not saying I don't get nervous if I do a new show, and I'm saying, will I go up in the songs, will I go up in the, you know,
How many shows did you do a day, taped, of the,
Well, if we did the daytimes, we did 5. We did the nightimes, we did 6.
6?
Worked 1 day a week.
A lot of work, though, isn't it, Peter?
No.
It wasn't?
No. I came in at 3. Who was on the show? Oh, my goodness. That's fun. I would go over the questions. I'd start taping at 5. I'd be home or out with whomever at 10.
Was Rosemary on that show, too?
She was the original girl. The original
She's the
girls,
originals?
Yeah, the 2 original girls were Abby Dalton Rowe, and the original guys were Wally Cox, Charlie Weaver, and Maury Amsterdam.
Wally Cox. Love him. I think he was wonderful. What
Yes,
kind
he
of a
was.
man? Because you know why I'm asking that question? Marlon Brando's very dear friend. They
were
were
like brothers.
very, yes.
Oh, yes. And the funny thing is that you would think that Brando would be the guy,
exactly,
and that Wally would be the meek. No, it was the reverse.
Why?
Wally would say, we're going out in the bike, we're going out, the flowers are in bloom in the desert. I don't want to go, Wally. Get dressed, we're going.
Right,
And that was it, yeah.
Yes.
It was funny to watch. I didn't see them together that much, but I'd heard stories, and I saw them maybe once or twice at Wally's
What kind
house.
of a man Willie Cox was? He
Wally-
was tender little man?
Very tender man, very nice man. He was built like a welterweight fighter. He was a great physique, and so, you know, when he died of arteriosclerosis, which is, you know, so sad, and any sad, but I mean, that's the last thing I would have thought he would have died of, because he really kept himself in shape. He would go out and run and walk, and he was not a heavy drinker. Took care of himself. He and Patty, they lived in a beautiful place up in the canyons, and
But he was a nice, concerned
nice, dear, very intelligent man. Yes.
In all the years you've been doing the Hollywood Square, who are some of your favorite people?
Well,
I mean,
we just named a bunch of them with Roe and Abby and of course Cliff and Paul, and I guess, you know, looking back, Joan Rivers.
Joan Rivers.
She was on the show for many years.
Yes.
And John Davidson, and who's now hosting the show.
He's funny now. He's funny.
John
is funny. Well, I think he's funny. He was a.
I've never found him funny. I found him amusing. I think he's very talented. I think he's a very good singer and a wonderful performer. Yeah. But he has never made me laugh much.
He's never made you laugh.
No. But then I'm not very funny either. You know, I guess we enjoy humor, and I think he's very good on squares. I think that was an excellent choice, John. Vincent Price. Just a lot of people that I knew over the years.
Are you happy right now what's happening with the Hollywood Squares?
Do I like the show?
Yeah.
It's okay. I mean, it's not great. It's not bad by any means. And I think it's doing very well, and it's entertaining. It's not the show I did, you know, and I don't think, even if I were hosting the show, it could be the same. I don't think you can go back and try to do something that was the best thing I had ever seen in games. Well, it was an entertainment show. And I don't think you could ever recreate that, because Paul's gone, Charlie's gone, Cliff's gone, Wally's gone. And, you know, you're not going to get Joan Rivers as a regular. You're not going to get all of those people as regular. You have to build a whole new family. So they may do that. And if they build a whole new family, and...
Takes years, though, Peter.
Yeah, it takes years.
Because you had it right from the beginning.
Yeah.
You really birthed it.
It just kind of worked.
Yeah.
And
looking back over your life, Peter Marshall, do you have any regrets?
That I looked cuter. Do I have any regrets?
Do you have any regrets? You're married, you have children.
No, I'm not married.
You're not married yet?
No.
You're not?
I have a lot of children, a lot of grandchildren.
I see.
But I'm not married. For any of you,
really?
I'm going to be in New York hopefully in February. No, I'm not married. I'm not in, I date several lovely girls.
Oh, I didn't know.
And no, I've been divorced now for about 5 years.
I see. But looking back over your life, do you have any regrets at all, Peter?
Let's talk about that last marriage now. No,
Okay.
I don't regret that at all. I don't regret anything I've done. I don't think. I think I would do things differently.
Like what?
The way I've maybe handled my career, I shouldn't have stayed with Squares that long. I should have gone back to New York to do shows, but you know, you make a lot of money and you've got a hit show, and you say to yourself, well, what the heck, I'll stay with it. And that's what I'm doing now. I'm doing, you know, I'm back where I, you know, am very happy. Yeah.
Your love, yes.
It really is.
That is your love.
That is my love. Although I wouldn't mind doing it. See, the great thing about doing a game show is that you only work 1 day a week. While I was doing Lacage, I was commuting. I would fly in on Monday mornings and tape a show called All-Star Blitz on ABC, and then fly back. Now, that's insane, especially at my age. At any age, really. And I didn't have any days off for 8 months. And that's, you know, doing 8 shows a week of Lacage and then taping that. But you can do that.
Yes.
So I could really have, if a show came along that was really exciting, I might do it, if I could produce it.
I see.
Because I know what I'd like to do. I don't say it would be successful, but I think I know what I would like to do.
Tell me something. Children, how many?
I have 6.
6?
And my eldest daughter is a very successful producer. She produced That's Incredible, and then she's a segment producer on a show called Photoplay, which I think is a good show.
It's a good show, yes.
And she just sold a film to Columbia, and I think she's got a film going at CBS.
Very good.
Suzanne, and then Peter was a very famous baseball player.
Peter Marshall.
No, Peter Lecoq.
Is Peter Kirk? He's not Junior. He's Peter.
Peter Lecoq is my name.
Yes, right. But
he's Pete Jr.
I see, Pete Jr.
Pete Jr. Okay. And then there's David, who lives in Hawaii. He's a farmer and painter. And then there's Jamie, who is a very successful businesswoman here. And then I have a daughter in college and a 14-year-old that doesn't do much.
Growing up, with that name, Peter Lecoq. I mean, it's kind of a strange...
Pierre Lecoq.
Pierre Lecoq. Pierre.
yes.
It's French. I mean, was it difficult growing up with that kind of...
You bet.
It was?
Yes, it was. It was fun, though. I think if I have any sense of humor, it may have derived from my crazy grandmother, who I adored, and being named Pierre Lecoq. I mean, if you don't have a sense of humor with a name like Pierre
Yes,
Lecoq,
you
you're in dire straits, which is another funny name.
Now, you work Vegas a lot, and you used to work Vegas a lot.
I worked Vegas since 1950. I have a menu from the Desert Inn, September 30th, 1950. I was starring there with Tommy Noonan.
But you have a wonderful singing group you worked with a lot.
We
They're
worked
called the
11
Chapter
years. They were Chapter 5.
Chapter 5.
They've gone everywhere, though. They've all gone around, and
How many
we
in the
all
group?
The original 5. Then Carl stayed with me, and then we got another 4 kids, and then we were together another. So all told, I think there were maybe 12 of us over all the years.
Oh, God.
And we're all very close. We all see each other.
You do?
And one is Mr. Richard Page, who's a huge star. Monica Mancini, she was our original lead singer.
Yes. And we have 2 in the studio.
Joe Croyle, who is a terrific pianist, singer, and Carl Edwards, who is a brilliant comic.
Yes, and we're going to bring him right now. I'd
Okay,
like
Carl, duck
Hello,
under the
Carl
camera.
Edwards.
Good. You just walk under the camera. Duck under the camera, Carl. Very good.
How are you, Carl?
And
How
this
are
is
you?
Joe Croyle.
Hi, Skip. I know, Joe. How you been?
Fine.
You're singing where
Let me get my mic
nowadays
on.
now?
I'm down in Long Beach,
Uh-huh.
singing at this wonderful restaurant called the Northern Lights.
Uh-huh.
And I don't know how to work lavalier mics.
That's
There we go.
right.
There.
Playing piano.
You're singing
Playing
and
piano,
playing-
and I'm singing, and I'm entertaining, and it's exactly what I like to do, because it's my love is singing, and
Good.
pouring my
Carl-
heart out to people.
And Carl Edwards, good
Yeah,
God.
yeah.
All those great impressions you do. I saw the show in Vegas with you people, with Chapter 5.
Right.
And you were just, oh, when Carl Edwards did that, all his
You kept
impressions.
standing up yelling, I'm here, I'm here. That was very nice.
You were just wonderful, Carl.
Thank you,
I love
thank
your
you,
impressions. I understand you're going on the Joan Rivers show.
Yes. I'm not sure when, but I'm going to do
But you've been working where nowadays?
Caesar's Tahoe. I was in Star Street, Jeff Kutesh show, for 7 months. I know how you feel. And the Comedy Store, and
You do at the Comedy Store.
yeah,
You MC
yeah.
the big room for
I MC
Mitzi?
the big room and the original room, and I'm a comedian now, not a doorman anymore, which is great.
Yeah, but you don't use the 4-letter words at the Comedy Store like the rest of the comics do. See, that's one thing I love. He doesn't.
He taught me
It's
that.
one-
He taught me that.
He
You don't have to
did.
be dirty to be clever.
That's right.
Clever
Is
is
that
one
right,
thing.
Peter?
Dirty.
Clever is much better than dirty.
Yeah.
Dirty, of course.
'Cause-
Kids today use that 4-letter words. You don't have to.
I don't like that.
I don't either, Peter.
Oh, I
don't.
think it's terrible.
He does.
You know,
Naughty, naughty.
Paul hated impressions of himself, except Carl's. He loved
Did he?
Carl. Yet that's the only one that he would laugh at.
Really?
Yeah, because Carl got it right on the button. And there was a devil thing beneath Paul that everybody does surface impressions. He would get real deep,
Real deep,
that Paul,
yeah.
like that Paul does. And Paul loved the way Carl did it. He would come and see us.
Carl did my showcase at sometimes when he used to get out from the road, take a break on the road with you. He used to do the showcase at the Hyatt on Sunset.
Yeah.
When he used
So
to
did I.
drop
I did
in.
that.
And you did
I
too,
did that
right?
one night.
You both did.
One
You,
couple
Carl,
nights,
yeah.
yeah. Sure.
You both did. Got up and sang for me. It was a lot of fun too. And Carl does he loves to impersonate me sometimes. He does that.
Oh, I
thing.
don't. I'm small. I'm small. Hello, New York.
Carl.
Anyway, yes.
The one I really like is the one, tell me, Nixon. Do Nixon. I love Nixon.
Poor Ronnie. Oh, Ronnie. Now you know how I feel.
Oh.
Yeah, big mistake.
Boy.
One of my favorite is Ruth Gordon.
Ruth Gordon.
Nobody ever died. I don't think anybody does an impression of Ruth Gordon.
Hi, Pierre Lecoq. Ha! I love that name. Got a peck like his old man. Oh, Harry. Hey, look at that camera. Ooh, where's Papa? He should be here in the audience somewhere. Hi.
Carl, where did you come from?
Nobody knows.
Nobody
His
knows?
mother won't talk about
She
it.
won't.
She sort of goes,
Really?
She hides the key. Philadelphia.
Really?
And I started at Steel Pier in Atlantic City.
Atlantic City.
Yeah, and I just went back there, in fact, 2 weeks ago, and I stood there and wept. As it's all different now. It's
As a
all
singer?
resorts.
As a singer?
As a singer, yeah.
Uh-huh.
And I worked with Peter as a singer, and basically stand-up for the last, I guess, 5 years. Ever
You have-
since Chapter 5 worked less, I started the Comedy Store, and then really the stand-up started.
Did you write your own material?
Yeah.
You do?
Yeah.
And if I ever borrow something, I usually acknowledge. You know, because I think we talked about the last time I was on about taking material from other people.
Stealing, yeah.
Yeah, well,
Borrowing,
you could
borrowing.
borrow, because when you're starting, you borrow. You know, and I would think that would be a compliment. But people would give you material, or else you acknowledge them.
Yes,
you know?
yes. Joe, do you write songs? Do you do any songs?
I do.
You play the piano and sing?
I play piano and sing, but I find songs that are good for me to do.
Uh-huh.
I suppose I'm not a writer, so you know. But
What
I
type
do
of
find
singer
some.
are you? A big singer? Or
No, I'm a ballad singer. I like to sing. I like to sing songs from the '40s, the stuff that we used to do in the show. Because see, I don't know if you know this, but I used to sing in a band myself when I was like 15 years old. I sang with a dance band and so that's where my roots are. Is that, and I just kind of grew up with that. Just always have done that.
Though. He's been with
You've
Mama
been-
Cass.
Mama Cass,
Mama Cass.
and
Jim
Ann
Neighbors.
Margaret and Gomer, Jim Neighbors, and
Jim
some lesser
Neighbors.
names.
That's a blessing.
What kind of a guy is Jim Neighbors to work with? I understand he's a fun guy.
Well, Jim, I always liked Jim. Jim and I got along great. He, you know, kind of kept himself distant to some people, but for me, he was just very open, and I enjoy everybody that I work with, because I can always get something from them. I can always, if they're willing to give me their time and their
Yes.
you know, to work together with them, then that's all that I care about. Because Jim was great. He was great.
We
It
did
was
a
lot of
fun thing on the road.
Did you?
Joe's a very good golfer, and Ray Sarr, one of our singers, who's just gotten back from Japan with his wife Sharon, been over there for a couple of years, and Al Pellegrini, my conductor, myself, we'd play golf every day. I mean, that's exactly what we would do every day of our lives, and play golf and scream and yell and have a wonderful time.
This keeps you in shape. You feel good, Peter.
I feel very good. Yes, thank you.
I see. Because that walking and golfing and exercise, all that is good for you.
Lacage got me into shape. If you're not in shape, you can't do Lacage. I'll tell you that right now.
What do you mean by Lacage got you in shape? Like
Well, I mean,
it's physical?
You bet. I'm off stage in the second act a minute for a quick change. In the first act, I'm off 12 minutes. And it's almost a 2-hour and 50-minute show.
It's a hard show for you.
Very difficult show. You'd think that my part would not be that difficult, but it's very, very difficult. Everybody, Alban, the other part that Keane did, I mean, I don't know how he does it. He's unbelievable.
Do you like to do book shows, though?
Yes. When I would, even doing squares, I would go out for 8 weeks, at least 8 weeks every year, and do a show until we formed Chapter 5.
Oh, I see.
And
who formed it? Did you?
Alan Copeland was my original arranger, and Alan, originally I was going to do an act with Eddie Samuels, who passed on about 2 months ago.
Yes.
Great pianist and singer. And we used to do club dates around town just for laughs, and he'd play piano, we'd do duet things, and they asked me to go into the Flamingo in Las Vegas, and then Eddie started to work with Shecky. And so Alan said, why don't you put some singers together? And I said, terrific. And we auditioned and signed the kids, and Alan he's a great vocal arranger, a great arranger, but a particularly great vocal arranger. And that's how it all formed, and to Vegas, and we were a smash, and we worked there steadily for about 10 years.
You're going to do club dates together still?
No, it would be hard to put the act together because there's so much music, so much rehearsal. That original act cost me over $100,000.
It did?
Just the arrangements, the rehearsing. We rehearsed like a book show. We went to a studio for just like over 4 weeks.
I think we were pipped out after. We did a Pips number, and Kevin Carlisle staged us.
Right, great choreography.
And just over and over again, I said, I still got it tonight. I wanted to go, bam, It was a constant, and it would be perfect. I mean, he was a great poop. The old poop.
But we would change things and update the act, and it was when I was doing squares, I could afford to do the act because I did not make that much personally from the act. I received a lot just emotionally. I love doing it.
Yes. Motion pictures.
I've never done many motion pictures. The ones I've done are pretty bad.
Why do you say pretty bad?
Well, they were fairly bad motion pictures. I starred with a couple of at Fox with Noonan. Actually, one picture called The Rookie. It's kind of a cult picture. They show it every year in New York, and like 500 people show up. I saw it recently. I must say I did laugh. But I've not done a lot of film that I'm really proud of. I did a picture called The Cavern I shot with Larry Hagman and a bunch of us in Yugoslavia. But I've done some TV things I've kind of liked, TV film things, but no, I'm not really a motion picture actor. I would like to be, but I don't think people see me.
What does make a motion picture actor, Peter?
I think the role, and I think a technique that I really don't understand. Jack Nicholson had done maybe 50 movies before Easy Rider. You go back, take a look at a picture called The Raven. He was the juvenile in that with, and I mean, he had done I did a film with him called Ensign Pulver. He did 30 Roger Corman films, but he finally got the part and became a star overnight. But he was equipped because he was a wonderful motion picture actor, but did not become a star until he got the part, and the part was Easy Rider. And of course, I just saw, you know, him on a thing the other night. I keep forgetting how wonderful he is. He's such a wonderful actor. But what makes a motion picture actor? Some electric thing that they have that the audience can feel, and they touch people. If you touch people in any media, stage happens to be what I do, I think, the best.
Yes, yes.
And for some reason, people like me on stage.
Oh, I see.
And I think they like me in squares.
Yeah, I was going to say, working with Peter on stage, because I've done a lot of, you know, other acts and things like that, and they were all very regimented. But in the chapter 5 in the act in Vegas, we had such a good time because it was very well put together. The show was put together in the chapter 5. It was all choreographed well, but the thing that made it unique was that everybody on stage could really do basically what they wanted to do.
That's true.
And we had such a good time, and the show was never ever the same. It was always different every night, and that's what made it fun to do.
I remember you made Carl did his whole act one night, and he did all the time, always.
Everybody did a thing.
Everything.
They were not just rudos, you know, and doo-wahs. No, it was like a review. It was there was really 6 people.
Yeah, I must say it was.
That's what was so unique about it.
I was surprised when I saw you in Vegas. I really was, Peter. I just thought you were just a TV host, wonderful, but I just couldn't believe how talented you were on that stage. I even said to Carl when I saw him.
He said to me, he says, "I can't believe how talented you are on stage. You're small, but you're talented. It's such a good."
You're Carol chatting for us. Come on,
yes.
I love Carol.
Oh yeah, it's so. Where's where's Jill?
There's your Carol.
Oh, Peter. Yes. Have any wigs you're not using?
Wigs.
Yeah, and my new one is on the next Oprah, My God, I'm Fat Winfrey show. Transsexual nuns who work on Harley Davidsons in their spare time while frauding the welfare system. On the next Oprah, get yourself a widescreen television Winfrey show. Thank you so much.
I love that.
That's my new one. That's a
great one. I love
And
it.
of course, oh, Skippy.
Joe.
Great. Oh, please, can we talk?
Yes.
Oh, my body is falling apart. Last week I had gas and blew my shoes off. My ass is... Oh, please. These are my boobs. The only woman wears a knee-high bra. It is... Oh, sure.
Isn't her show fun? I think it's
Well, we
great.
toured with Joe.
She is
Yeah.
You did
Sure.
I used to babysit for Melissa.
That's right.
Yeah,
we
I used to sit
toured
with
with
Melissa.
That was fun. We toured with Cosby and
Jerry Lewis.
with Jerry
Jerry,
Lewis and.
It's very difficult to be round.
Jerry Lewis.
Yeah,
he was adorable with us.
Is he?
He loved the kids. And He loved, you know. You hear all these things about Jerry Lewis. I've known him. We're exactly 3 weeks apart in age. So we've known each other since we're kids. And I've only found him to be the most charming, nice person. And I think what he does, excuse me, this thing, and people say, yeah, but he gets paid for that. He doesn't get paid for that. He works his buns off. And
They say he gets $1 million, but he doesn't.
he should get $2 million.
He should,
whatever.
if he does, right,
But he
exactly.
doesn't, you know
Who
what he
cares?
gets? He gets a plane to fly to go and do these things. We would do a show, and he said, I got to be in Atlanta tomorrow.
Yes.
I'm speaking in front of for my kids and a blah, 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 blah. And I was around him. He worked hard. And a friend of mine, who I will not mention, came down ill with that terrible disease. And I called Joey Stabile, his manager, and I said, Joey, blah, blah, blah. Jerry got a doctor. He got that. I mean, he's terrific. You can't knock Jerry Lewis to me.
Now, that's nice, Peter. I'm very happy to hear that, because I love Jerry Lewis. I always did love Jerry Lewis. To me, he was a great, yes, just
we had a lot of
French knew. They love him in Paris.
He's the biggest thing
It's
in
the
Paris.
biggest thing in Paris.
Oh,
They
sure.
really recognize Jerry
We
Lewis.
almost did Paris with him. We were going to do that concert over there
When?
for 2 weeks.
We were gonna do, I didn't know about it. You didn't tell me, because it was something that you didn't call at the, Gloria didn't, at the thing with the, I didn't, well, it's
We
good.
didn't.
I don't have a luggage anyway.
Is it difficult to get to new people today? Some of the new, I mean, today, some of the.
Oh, I mean impressions.
Impressions.
Okay.
How do you get your? How do you develop?
You
your
just hear
impressions?
something. You hear something funny. You know, something grabs you, and you just do it. You know, and you get an ear. You know, you just.
It's not hard for you then.
Some of them are, and then some of them come in like instant.
Which
I mean,
one's hard?
Carter was real hard for me.
Carter?
Jimmy Carter was real hard.
It would seem fast.
And Reagan was very tough.
Reagan.
Well,
Well, he is tough.
He
really is tough.
Ooh, bang, bang. Yeah. Hi, Peter. Well, but it's something happens, you know, and you catch it.
Did you meet Reagan? You met Reagan, haven't you?
I used to work at Billy Gray's bandbox, and
Yes, sure.
right
Yes.
down on Fairfax,
On Fairfax,
with Tommy
that's
Noonan, and
right.
he used to come in and see us. He loved Noonan and Marshall.
You worked that club, knew
A
him?
lot. Oh, sure, Noonan and Marshall. We worked there a lot. We worked around the corner here too, on Hollywood Boulevard, the old NTGs.
Tell me about Billy Gray's. Go ahead. He came
Billy
out.
Gray's, that was
Yeah.
a great experience. I have a billboard somewhere where the opening act was Polly Bergen. Then we had Frankie Fontaine. Remember? John
Of
L.C.
course, Frankie Fontaine.
And Noonan and Marshall, Billy Gray, and Robert Maxwell. He wrote Ebb Tide and Shangri-La. He was a harpist.
Harpist. I know Robbie.
Yeah,
Robert Maxwell,
great.
I knew him very well.
That was one
him and
show.
his wife, the lovely people they worked.
Yes,
I
they
knew
are.
him back east.
And that was, well, we worked with everybody, and everybody worked the room, and it was a classy club. And Billy Gray was a very funny
I
man.
remember that days.
Yeah.
Because I started
3-hour
show
shows.
business-
It
I
was
started
one
show
show,
business
just went on and
in
on.
Chicago, Illinois, years ago in Chicago.
Billy?
Shecky Green. No,
Oh,
Shecky
Shecky,
and
that's-
I, we worked together in Rockford, Illinois, at the Palace Theater. He did Shecky Green. It was Sterling and Green. Shecky was on the show with me, Sterling and Green. I remember those years. And Joni James just came in, did a record called Why Don't You Believe Me? And I remember this.
Over at Chicago Theater,
And
Joni.
You did?
Which they've just refurbished.
Was she there in the beginning of her career?
No, she
or-
was there starring. I was
Starring.
your supporting player.
I see.
Yeah.
She's having difficulties right now with her husband. Tony Aquavita is very ill.
No, he died.
He died?
Yes, he did. So.
Did not know this. Did he really?
Yes, he did.
When did
And
this happen, Peter? I did
About
not
3 months ago.
Not know it. See, I didn't keep in contact with her. I know she's a very lovely lady.
Yes, she
I'm
is.
Sorry to hear that.
She was a very big star, and it's funny about singers. You know, you're only as good as you like it, I guess. So it's very difficult to maintain stardom, being a record performer.
I see. Tell me something. Looking back, like I asked you, right now, are you happy where you are?
Yes, I'm very happy. I wish my golf game were better, and my kids are terrific. My grandkids are terrific, and
So
I
you're
have
happy.
wonderful. I'm a very happy person.
I see. So you're doing the show and Lacage, and you're very.
I hope to go back to New
Are
York.
you writing, Peter?
No, I hate writing. I had to do that for a living for a while.
So you're not going to write?
No, not that unless I have to. I couldn't get a job. There was a 9-month period, my entire career, that I didn't work, so I wrote with Dick Godier, and we sold a film called Mary Jane that made a lot of money. Not for us, made it for AIP. And I enjoyed writing for a while, but I became a bore. I hope I never have to write for a living again. I could write maybe as an avocation, but not to do it for a living, I think, is the toughest thing I've ever encountered.
They're refurnishing Hollywood. Tell me, what's happening with Hollywood now? Do you think it's refurnishing Hollywood, making it good? Do you think it's going to happen, Peter?
I think eventually, but I don't think we're going to see it for another 10, 15 years.
That's what I mean, yeah.
Yeah, I don't think it's going to happen next.
Not like that.
No. I came out here in 43, so you can imagine, I was a kid. I came out here in 43, and you could walk up Hollywood Boulevard or Sunset Boulevard.
Yes.
It was glorious.
Yeah, the Broadway on the Hollywood and Vine was a lovely
I mean,
store.
it really was.
It was
just
nice.
beautiful, and you had the Derby there. And, But there weren't all these schlocky stores, and you could see stars in the old Hollywood Hotel. Was
What
there in
happened,
Highland.
Peter? I mean, did the 60s do it, or what
The
happened?
war did it, because everybody came out to work. And so you had an influx of all the people from the Midwest, Oklahoma, wherever, to work in the factories. And the town grew up overnight. From a little sleepy community of a film colony, it became and people came out here also because the weather's good. It was before the smog and all that.
Yes, yes.
And it's happening in Florida now. It's,
Yes.